The UMass Minutemen have won twice this year, both those wins coming during their 2 home games. To pick up win number 3, they'll have to pass their biggest test at McGuirk Stadium to date as an FBS program. University of South Florida is 4-0 this year, 25-4 since the start of the 16 season. They are rolling. Can the Minutemen pull off a major upset? Find out now on 11 Sports. A great fall day here in Amherst, Massachusetts. You can see some of the colors on the trees as we get ready for some Saturday afternoon college football. The UMass Minutemen taking on the USF Bulls. And it's great to have you with us alongside Andy Gresh. I'm Eric Freed. By now, you know the story. UMass head coach Mark Whipple, for his inappropriate comments made after the loss to Ohio last time out, suspended by UMass for this game here today. Defensive coordinator Ed Pinkham steps in, takes over as acting head coach. How does this all impact the Minutemen, Greg?
Well, I think it'll be minimal in a way because I think what they've done is they've divided it up. Spencer Whipple will move over from passing game coordinator to call the plays offensively. You see Ed Pinkham, he's going to run the defense, and then Charles Walker on special teams. So I think Ed Pinkham is going to do what a lot of smart coaches do. Listen to the guys around them, and then they'll make group decisions.
His defense will be put to the test here today because, as I mentioned, USF 4-0 in the season. They have a first-year quarterback to their program who's been around the block a time or two, veteran Blake Barnett.
Yeah, it's a full Blake front effect in Tampa now that he has taken over as the starting quarterback from Quentin Flowers, and he throws a pretty football. Look at this ball out of the hands of Blake. The other thing he can do, too, is throwing into his own in this South Florida offense.
He has been at Alabama. He has been at Arizona. He has found a home at USF. Now, when it comes to UMass on defense, it begins with Brighton Barr, who happens to be leading the nation in tackles per game right now.
Yes, my guy. And you know, the hair flying out of the back of the helmet. And let's face it, they need some effort and intensity today. And this is what Brighton Barr brings. He's a tone setter. He's very good at what we would call cutting through the trash. He gets around blockers and finds his way to the football. But the biggest thing Brighton Barr is going to add today, he has to set the tone for this defense and this football team who's had to do things a little differently this week. Ed Pinkham told us during the week that all he has to do is put on the practice tape of Brighton Barr to get that kind of intensity. He brings it to game day, he brings it to practice, and that allows UMass to hopefully get better this week.
He's fired up. We'll see how it translates as UMass faces a very tough opponent, the USF Bulls. Back with the opening kickoff here at McGuirk in just a moment. And Pinkham leading the UMass Minutemen onto the field. The first meeting all time between the Minutemen and the Bulls. Let's join the third member of our team, Matt Goldstein, on the sideline. Matt.
Thanks, guys. The key for UMass today is going to be getting off to a start fast. Versus Charlotte 2 games ago, they got up 28-0. Last week against Ohio, they were up 14-0. Conversely, USF, they've started slow in first quarters. They've been outscored in the first quarter the last 3 games.
So Ed Pinkham, acting head coach. This is the second time he has been an acting head coach. More about that story in a moment. But back in 2012, he won as acting head coach while an assistant at Elon. So he is 1-0 as he takes over. He'll still work the defense as well. And his team won the coin toss. They elected to defer, so UMass will go on defense to start the game as Cooper Garcia gets set to boot it away. 60 degrees, overcast, little bit of breeze from right to left as you take a look at Charlie Strong in his second year as USF head coach. 10-2 last year, 4-0 this year. Garcia ready to boot it with the breeze at his back. D'Angelo Antoine, Bentley Sanders, back deep for the Bulls. Line drive kick heading towards the sideline, and a mistake for UMass right away as the flags fly, and USF will have good field position to start things out here at Amherst.
Ball in play at the 35-yard line, first down.
Surprised they went with the squib to start. USF deadly in the kick return game early on, but a key injury has made them mere mortals now in the kick return game. And you're going to see this USF offense led by Blake Barnett, who is in the top 25 in all of FBS football in terms of throwing it. I think we'll see that zone read early on, and they come out with 3 wide receivers to challenge this UMass defense right away.
USF without one of their key receivers, Darnell Solomon, this week, but they do have their number 1 receiver, Tyree McCants, 23 receptions now on the season.
Here's the thing about Tyree McCants. He is listed at 240 pounds, and you could see how on that 5'11 frame, he's got a big lower trunk. He is a tough guy to bring down.
First down and 20 from the 25-yard line.
And from Niceville, Florida, there's nothing nice about trying to tackle McCants.
So it looks like they're bringing it back, and it's going to be a first down and 20 after a penalty call. So penalties so far on each side. Actually, they're calling it 1st and 17 right now. As Barnett on play action. Throws it deep, man coverage, looking for McCants, has him in stride. And there's no touching him. Touchdown, USF. What a start for the Bulls. 72 yards.
Well, they find a way to get the matchup of McCants on the safety. Tyler Hayes, you saw number 30 in pursuit. But McCants down the field, and a very pretty pitch and catch as Blake Barnett gets it to the senior Tyree McCants. That's his 15th career touchdown. McCants came in today 3rd on the USF all-time list with 14. Gets a quick one here early on.
Another flag flies as Kobe Weiss steps up and puts it through. Looks like UMass had jumped off sides. So McCants hauls it in 72 yards. 91 career receptions now for the big senior. You can see our referee, Jeff McConaughey, looking over to the USF sideline.
Defensive denied. Is declined. Good. One after by Kobe Weiss
From the
good.
ACC, so not what UMass needed. That's a team at UMass that has come out delivering the first punch at home with kickoff return for a touchdown. First play from scrimmage this season against Duquesne went for a touchdown. Now here at McGuirk in their 3rd game of the season, it's the opposition who turns the table.
And Frito, this UMass defense is going against a USF offense that has finished in the top 10 in rushing in all of NCAA football the past 3 seasons. So when you think of USF, yes, they have the ability to make big plays in the passing game, but really their bread and butter is being physical, running the football, and playing defense. And they make the big play right here to get UMass on their heels early.
Zach Simon, Marquise Young back deep. Young, you know, has breakaway speed in the return game, and he'll have a chance here. Short kick, bounces, and picked up by Young at the 11. Young with a little bit of an opening, but it closes up quickly. Does not get to the 25-yard line. Now the whistle finally blows, and that's where Andrew Ford will lead the offense onto the field. Ford returned from injury last week against Ohio, put up some big numbers. Ross Comus also returned from injury. He played as well. We expect to see both of them today, but Ford getting the call from the start.
Yeah, and we know that Mark Whipple likes to mix in both quarterbacks. Will son Spencer keep up that thought process or continue to roll with that strategy? As we know, Spencer is calling the plays today, and you see 5 starts, very good completion percentage. Needs to get a little better at taking care of the football, and UMass spreading them out early.
For 27 of 38, 355 yards in that loss at Ohio. Isabella looked like he got hit on the face mask, but the face mask was not grabbed. And it's a good play on first down for UMass. They'll move the chains.
Well, and they slide 2 offensive linemen out there, Frito, and you saw that USF with a little bit of an issue in terms of lining up. And now UMass with an unbalanced line to the left. They flipped number 74, Lucas Coulter, over there.
Young is hit by Nico Sawtell, the junior middle linebacker, second on the team with 30 tackles on the season. Khalid McGee, number 2, leading the team with 42 total tackles. Senior, also a linebacker there. You see Sawtell. USF 4-0 on the season. They're coming off a bye week, however. Their last time out 2 weeks ago, they knocked off ECU 20-13. Ford turning around, trying to haul it in as Brendan Dingle got a hand on it, but it's incomplete. Nick Roberts, redshirt freshman, on the coverage.
And on that second down play, we end up seeing a defensive lineman sink, or excuse me, a linebacker sink in the middle to take away the crossing route. And a really nice job by Mike Hampton, who came in 5th in FBS football in terms of passes defended, gets his hands on one early.
3rd down and 7. UMass needs to get to just about the 45-yard line for a first down. Minutemen 39% on 3rd down conversions this year. Ford's got a man and he's got a first down. Sadiq Palmer caught fire late in the game at Ohio. Been quiet for a little while, but he's a guy who can move the chains.
No question, and especially when you use Andy Isabella the way they did there, it gets Sadiq Palmer matched up on the free safety, Jamon Thomas.
16 receptions now on the season for Palmer. Thrown underneath Isabella. Great move to get around one man and a second man. Finally brought down at the 31.
This is where Andy Isabella, Eric, is at his best. You get him in open space, and he came here as a running back. They turn him into a wide receiver, and watch what he does once he catches the football. Here's the running back in him. Stick the foot in the ground, miss, make 2 guys miss, get an extra 5 yards.
UMass quickly to the line after the first down. Let's go, D! Pressure coming, picked up, Ford underneath, caught, Brennan Dingle, touchdown, Minutemen. 31 yards, and UMass has an answer for USF.
And I think what we're seeing, at least early on, is spread them out, force USF to not only have to play in coverage, but also make one-on-one tackles. And so far, that has not gone well for the Bulls. Nice protection by the offensive line. That's just a little route over the middle. You got to make that tackle. If you don't, they're going to get into the end zone like Brendan Dingle does there.
For the redshirt sophomore out of Baltimore, it's his 2nd touchdown, 13 receptions now on the season. And the point after is good. But we expected a little bit of offense in this game. I say we've seen it so far. USF scores on their first series. Ford, a great look as he found Dingle. Some missed tackles by USF during that first drive, and we're tied at 7. Andrew Ford with his 7th touchdown toss of the season. 31 yards to Brendan Dingle. 6 plays, 77 yards. Took all of 2 minutes and 5 seconds. So we've had a grand total of 7 plays from scrimmage so far in this game, and we've got 14 points on the board.
That's good play-to-point ratio right there.
I'd say. Garcia, this kick is taking a couple of yards deep in the end zone, and trying to bring it out is Antoine. Antoine hurdles through, and Antoine finds an opening. He'll be caught, but you get an idea that even though Terrence Horn, who had a 98-yard and a 97-yard return against Georgia Tech, taking them both back to the house, you take away a sprinter who's a dynamic returner, but they are still good in the return game.
Yeah, the fact that Horn got hurt, you figure that it would make them, well, you know, normal when it comes to kick returns. But if it wasn't for Brian Roberts Jr., the safety who was on the hop to make that tackle from behind, it would have been a 3rd kickoff return for a touchdown for USF.
64-yard return to the UMass 36-yard line. Barnett throws it underneath to Randall St. Felix. Ball is free. Do the officials agree? UMass is celebrating like it's their football.
Well, there was no whistle. I didn't hear a whistle to kind of blow it dead, so UMass played it through, and it should be their ball.
It is UMass football. Bryce McAllister, who had a couple of interceptions in the opener against Duquesne, comes away with a football, and UMass gets a takeaway.
That's exactly what the Minutemen defense needed. Let's take a look. Randall St. Felix with the catch. Oh, that's just a really nice job by Bryce McAllister to rip the football away from him. Not only did he get the forced fumble, he gets the fumble recovery because he literally ripped it out of his hands. That's a great job by Bryce McAllister, the grad student, working against Randall St. Felix, the redshirt freshman, and I don't think this will take very long to confirm.
The officials are heading down the field. Maybe a communication issue with one of the headsets, as our referee Jeff McConaughey. Let's watch again. Here's McAllister reaching in.
He just rips it right out.
Question.
That's
what a play.
Great play by Bryce McAllister. Well, that's a veteran play right there. And, you know, once you're a ball carrier, whether you're a receiver or a running back, and the contact is coming, you've got to try to get your other hand on that football because you know there are going to be players trying to rip it out.
Call is confirmed. It'll be UMass football at their own 30-yard line. McAllister, the grad student from East Longmeadow, played 33 games at UConn. Grad transfer into the UMass program. His first and only season this year with the Minutemen, had that impact against Duquesne with a couple of interceptions, was hurt against BC the next week, did not play against FIU. Now back to speed, and that's something we talked about a couple of weeks ago when UMass beat Charlotte. They were so banged up, especially in the secondary, that now that the secondary is back together again, things are tightening up a little bit on defense.
Yeah, McAllister, a grad student, combined with Tyler Hayes, a junior college transfer into the UMass program here his first year.
Ross Comis comes in, high snap, and he throws it out of play. Oh, this is par for the course for UMass. We've seen Ford come out, march the team down the field, and then Ross Comis, the redshirt senior, comes in and handles that second series.
Well, and Ross Comis throwing the ball at just under 57%, 365 yards and 4 touchdowns on the year. You see no interceptions, but what Ross Comis adds is the ability to get a little more out of the quarterback in the run game.
He'll hand it to Marquise Young, had a little bit of an opening, but Khalid McGee is there to grab it. McGee, quite a story, leading this team in defense. According to head coach Charlie Strong, he's undersized, but he just makes plays with passion. Moved from safety to linebacker late last year.
Yeah, and they use him as the will linebacker, so it gives them versatility in coverage as well, which will come into play against a UMass team that's got 4 wide receivers on the field.
3rd down and 8 for the Minutemen. Sadiq Palmer in motion. Comis in trouble, grabbed, and finally brought down. Kirk Livingstone, the junior, is the first one who got a hand on him, and Livingstone leading the celebration, and UMass will be forced to punt.
That's his 3rd sack of the year. Livingstone working on the right tackle, Larnell Coleman. Coleman gets his head down a little bit, and then once you grab that jersey and you get the paw on him, Livingstone wasn't going to let that go. That's a good sack. He beats Coleman, the redshirt freshman. Coleman is the least experienced of the UMass offensive linemen. They'll be able to coach him up on the sidelines, but you worry about confidence on a player playing on an island.
Punt is taken in stride by Tyree McCants. McCants is hit and thrown aside. Good coverage by UMass, but it'll be good field position for USF in a 7-7 game. Tumultuous week, obviously, this week for UMass. It started out in Ohio last week. They lose to the Bobcats, pretty big, 58-42. After the game, Mark Whipple used an inappropriate word. He addressed that in his statement after he was suspended for 1 game by UMass. And I think as you read through the statement, and we've heard it all week here at UMass, he knows he made a mistake, made a huge mistake, obviously, and he's trying to own it.
And I think the reason this story didn't mushroom on them was because everyone handled it the right way. Coach Whipple accepted responsibility. I thought both the athletic director and the president of the university, respectively, came down with swift justice. Mark Whipple accepted it. Everyone has been able to apologize and move on, and I think everyone involved has handled a very sticky situation pretty gracefully.
Barnett under pressure, hit as he throws, and still somehow That ball got to St. Felix. It was a wobbly duck after he got hit, Barnett did, but St. Felix hauled it in.
And for the UMass defense, if USF starts to run the ball on them, that's when these wide receivers become that much more dangerous, and that guy Blake Barnett becomes much more dangerous because then you could start to sprinkle him in the run game. But it's very clear they're working the outsides against this UMass defense early on with these wide receivers.
2nd down and 4. They've been going to the pass game, and Barnett will throw to St. Felix again. He has a 1st down, and St. Felix is finally knocked down inside the 15-yard line.
And this is a great job by Blake Barnett to give himself a little bit of time. He was able to just move out of the pocket ever so slightly and then step up and deliver the football. UMass having some issues getting lined up here.
That's down over Barnett's head, and he'll just cover it up. Michael Wiggs, the sophomore, in his first year starting at center. He had never played center at any level before this season.
You know, there's an old trick to the shotgun snap. It's keep the hand low, and what you really want to do, for lack of a better way of describing it, is to, as a center, try to take the middle of your forearm and sort of smack yourself in the old twig and giggles, and that will produce a consistent snap. That's how I learned it in college.
Loss of 17. Haven't heard Cronkite's name mentioned. Talented running back, and UMass is ready for him with Brighton Barr leading the charge. Jordan Cronkite, redshirt junior from Miami, transfer from Florida, coming off back-to-back 100-yard rushing games.
Yeah, Cronkite's a big back at 5'11", 207, runs with good thunder. And now UMass taking advantage of the bad snap, 3rd and a mile.
3rd and 27. They need to get inside the 3-yard line for a 1st down. Barnett will try to run for it. Middle of the field, finally brought down, and this will be a manageable field goal for the Bulls.
That's a pretty good play there by Blake Barnett. There are not a lot of guys, and Frida, we've been watching Brighton Barr, the middle linebacker in this UMass defense, for a couple of years now. There are very few players, let alone quarterbacks, who have the ability to put the foot in the ground and get him to miss.
Sophomore Kobe Weiss, 1 for 3 on the season. He's made from 26 yards. He's missed from 40 and 44. This will be a 29-yard field goal attempt. And USF is back in front. Get more 11 Sports Daily by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at 11 Sports USA. Find out what events are coming up, information about teams and players, and what games will be streaming live on different social media sites. Follow 11 Sports USA now. Kickoff after the field goal is short, and by Simon. Good return for UMass. Remember, USF had a very strong return in the kicker correct. Samuel last week, Gresh. In his limited time with the Minutemen so far.
Yeah, 6'1", 200-pounder, a little long, lanky guy you football up to, shows some good burst there and some good fearlessness on kick return.
MLS had a 45-yard return. Andrew Ford back on the field under center for this 1st down play, and the give is to Isabella. Isabella picks up about 4. He'll throw that wrinkle in once in a while.
Of course.
Get Isabella going on the ground.
Yeah, and it's that hard motion as well that allows you to work some play action down the field at some point in the game, because every time Andy Isabella motions across a formation, you have to react to.
6 carries this season for Isabella for 55 yards. Jordan Fredericks tries to turn the corner, and he's going to be very close to a 1st down. About a yard short, so a 3rd and 1 coming up for the Minutemen.
Fredericks built a little differently than Bilal Ali and Marquise Young, 5'10", 225.
Little hesitation. And it cost him. Loss of 1 on the play. 4th down coming.
Yeah, it looks like Andrew Ford almost got tied up with the football there, not from a standpoint of not knowing what they're doing, but do I want to hand it off to him? considering USF was able to flash up the middle. Take a look at it one more time. They bring the tight end across the formation and just nowhere for him to run the football. They also had Ronnie Higgins Jr., the nickel back, kind of played up on the outside, so Ford couldn't take it and run. And there's Spencer Whipple, who's calling the plays today.
Kevin Bronson and Kirk Livingstone there on the stop. Travis Reynolds boots it away, and a fair catch called for at the 12-yard line. 5:37 to go. First quarter here in Amherst, 3-point game. UMass has battled some big programs in the past, and they have gone toe-to-toe recently. Remember last year they outscored Tennessee on the road in the fourth quarter, tight game there. Back-to-back games against Mississippi State, one at Gillette, bottom of your screen there. They were down by just a touchdown in the fourth quarter. Fought them down last year at Mississippi State in Starkville. One at BYU last year, and remember the trip to the Swamp, that was a 10-7 game in the fourth quarter.
Yep. They've done a good job of being competitive. We've been waiting to see this UMass group break through, and you could argue this is the best opponent UMass has faced here at McGuirk Stadium in the FBS era.
Pass incomplete, dropped by McCants, back downstairs to Matt.
Thanks, guys. McGuirk has been friendly for UMass. UMass has won their last 5 home games, 4 here at McGuirk, and then, of course, the game at Fenway Park against Maine. In fact, remember, UMass did not play a game at McGuirk for 2 years, 2012 and 2013, and since 2014 playing home games, UMass 8-8 in those games.
Second down and 10 after the incomplete pass. The give is to Johnny Ford. Ford is a true freshman. They've had some issues at the running back position when it comes to injuries, USF has. Duran Bell and Elijah Mack both out. They have been battling injuries. Trayvon Sands is with the team. He has missed a game with an injury. Jordan Cronkite is their clear number 1 out of the backfield.
Yeah, and Johnny Ford is a little bit of a change-up. As you saw, he's only 5'5", 168 pounds. So if they can get the zone read game going or that real north-south run game going, he's a guy who can kind of hide back there and then squirt through.
Third down and 8 for the Bulls, leading 10-7 in the first round. Barnett gets out of trouble, but only for the moment. It's going to go into the books as a gain of about 1. Mario Patton there for the Minutemen.
Well, the whole defensive line was in on Blake Barnett on that play. Look at the rush right there. Joe Previti, 98. And then the good backside hustle. Pursuit from defensive linemen, always big. Mario Patton, because he's on the hop, ends up making the tackle and bringing Barnett down before he can wiggle away.
Barnett felt that tackle. Patton landed right on top of him. Here is Trent Schneider with his first punt. Flag flies as Isabella ducks away from one hit, ducks away from another, and he's got the speed to get free. Gets around Schneider. Isabella is gone, but let's check on the flag. What's the penalty?
I think this might be coming back here, Frito.
Turn, holding. Return team number 3. 10-yard penalty, first down.
From where the flag came from, it was an official way in the back. I mean, the flag was thrown a good 20 yards in the air while they were running downfield to have Andy Isabella sort of field this football. What a major swing, not only on the scoreboard, but field position as well. This ball's going to get pushed back all the way to the 28-yard line.
Well, Lee Moses, the one picking up the flag, and UMass will bring the offense onto the field. Andrew Ford back at quarterback. Second series in a row. Not much happening on that last series for the Minutemen. A 3 and out. Inside of 4 to go in the first. Ford, give up the middle. Fredericks for a couple, maybe 1. These two teams were supposed to meet last year, October 14th of last season in Tampa, but the game was rescheduled. Kind of a Hurricane Irma. Their conference schedule around, so UMass worked it out. They met this year. They'll meet again in 2022, October 22nd, 2022. I know you like to plan far enough ahead.
A couple days before my birthday, I'll make that trip.
Ford throws it complete, and that's going to be enough for a first down. There's Zach Simon. Well, the Minutemen have been getting contributions from Simon, now 6 catches on the year. We talked about Emelis before as well, a couple of guys who weren't in the rotation at the beginning of the season but are now.
And Andy Isabella has become the guy that wherever they line him up in formation, everybody else has the ability to work off of it. Isabella came in with 40 catches.
4 brought down. USF came into the game with 11 sacks on the season. Juwan Brown gets this sack.
And this time it's Ray Thomas Ishman, the left tackle, who just gets pushed right into the feet of the quarterback by Juwan Brown.
Well, that's UMass's best offensive lineman, so
yeah.
Good work by Brown.
Yeah, and Ray Thomas Ishman, his 30th career start today, got to get a little bit lower. That's the second time a UMass tackle has been beaten here in the first quarter.
2nd and 17. Isabella in motion. Give to Young. And USF is ready for it. Kevin Kegler, sophomore. Defensive tackle with the stop.
Yeah, Kegler 90 and 96, Kelvin Pinckney doing the job down there in the middle. And hey, if you've got interior defensive linemen that are tough to move, you've got the beginnings, I think, of a productive, great defense. And South Florida rotates their defensive linemen through. They've got very good depth. And so far, it's been problematic for this UMass offensive line.
USF replacing 7 starters on defense from a year ago. Thrown underneath to the tight end. That's Kyle Horn with his 9th catch of the season. Gets out across the 40-yard line, and UMass will have to punt.
Well, 3rd and 17, you're just keeping it in front of you. It doesn't matter whether you give up 15 yards, just get the 3rd down stop and get out of there. And right now, UMass is finding themselves behind the chains in these early down and distances. And there you see Spencer Whipple talking to the starting quarterback, Andrew Ford.
Bentley Sanders back deep. Georgopoulos, not a very good punt. It's going to get a really good roll, though, before heading out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. Not the best from the freshman, who came in averaging just over 40 yards a kick. You can see it's not a very long list, and USF has had to come from behind. They've been a very good fourth-quarter team, outscoring their opponents 49-14. They were down 10 to Georgia Tech, came back to win that game. Down 12 to Illinois, came back to win that game in the fourth. They were tied with ECU in the fourth quarter and got the 80-yard touchdown run from Cronkite. Started the season with a win against Elon, a nationally ranked FCS opponent. Catch by Rashid Bronson, who has been on the sidelines for most of his career the last couple of years, and the flag comes flying in, and it's going to be offensive pass interference on USF. Bronson in the lineup here today. He's played just 1 game this year, missed all of last year.
Back offense, number 84, 10-yard penalty, first down.
So St. Felix ends up getting the, I do believe that was the illegal use of hands, maybe a pick there.
First down and 12.
USF averaging 62 yards in penalties per game. UMass at 45 yards a game. Final minute of the first quarter. First and 12, Barnett, quick throw. They try Bronson again, and Bronson gets away from a couple of would-be tacklers. When UMass has struggled this year, they have missed lots of tackles. Another flag on the play, though.
Yeah, we're going to get a block in the back on one of the USF wide receivers to the play side. So here's the catch, and then watch as he goes back outside. There it is right there. Looked like it was number 86, Stanley Clairvaux, the junior 6'3", 224-pounder. who gets the penalty. And now we're back 1st and 16. Inching them backwards slowly with all these penalties.
3 penalties, 36 total yards for USF, and that will do it for the first quarter. First play from scrimmage, Barnett to McCann, 72 yards for the touchdown. This is the 7th game in as many weeks for UMass. They are off next week. You can join us on October 20th, 2 weeks from today, as the Minutemen host Coastal Carolina, 3:30 Eastern Time, right here on 11 Sports. Well, pretty evenly played first quarter between UMass and USF, would you say, Gresh?
Couple of big plays early, and then everybody's now settling in.
Barnett, ball is free. That's been the difference so far. 2 takeaways by UMass.
Recovered by the defense, first down.
Chinadu Agbana comes away with the football, and UMass in USF territory.
Ball comes out of Blake Barnett's hands very quickly, and then, it was, I can't tell if that was Jarrell Ado. Who was that on the outside there, Frito? Because watch the hand get in right here. Yes, it was Ado back in the lineup. 11 career starts. UMass gets him back defensively. He does a good job of reaching and knocking the football out of the receiver's hands.
Well, that is the great equalizer when you're UMass taking on a 4-0
The field of a fumble is
USF
under further review.
team. They're going to review it. The question could be, did Clairvaux have full possession before Ado got a hand in there? It's one of the things they'll be looking at. Four field goals. They've dug in on defense when they've given the football up. Let's watch again. Does he have full possession?
To me, it looks like it's a catch, and he is tucking, able to try to get upfield. I don't think that ball was wiggling, and if you look at the way the receiver holds onto the football, so he's moving forward, and then it does get knocked out. Edo with a nice job of just poking that ball out of the receiver's hands. To me, that's a catch and a fumble.
Terrell Ado serving a suspension for the first half of the season, making his debut, as Gresh mentioned today, had 67 total tackles in 11 starts last year, 5th on the team in tackles, had a forced fumble last year. For Agbana, he has a couple of fumble recoveries now if this play holds. We're about to find out.
After further review, the receiver did not maintain possession of the catch. By rule, that's an incomplete pass. Be 2nd down and 16 on the 24-yard line.
Boy, that's a tough sell. I'm sorry. He moved it to the left hand and was making a football move to run up the field. Ball's out of Barnett's hands. There's your catch. And he is tucking that football in. That's a tough sell to me, I'll tell you. But again, we can get printouts and sheets, and everybody can tell us what's a catch now in football. It just feels like it's a constant moving of the goalpost as to what is and what isn't a catch.
So they're getting the change set right in front of Ed Pinkham. It'll be 2nd down for USF. Blake Barnett has been very good, 7 of 9 passing, and it's 2 incompletions, a couple of drop passes when you include that drop just a moment ago. Cronkrite has got a couple, 3rd and long coming up.
Well, the one thing that USF has done is play behind the chains a little bit these past couple of drives, whether it's penalties, mistakes, bad snaps. They've got to find a way to do a better job on 1st down.
That was one of the key points for head coach Charlie Strong coming into this game. They come up big on 3rd down, going to their tight end, Mitch Wilcox, the junior, with his 15th reception of the season. That will move the chains.
He's a John Mackey Award candidate, as Mitchell Wilcox.
Barnett play action, looking deep, man coverage, and Isaiah Rogers gets a hand in there. Here come flags.
Got the left hand on the receiver, which you can't do. And Rogers was with the receiver step for
Defense
step.
number 9, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Just working it down the field, and you could see hands all over him, climbed up the back of the receiver. Pretty easy call. I guess what I quibble with is, if you're Isaiah Rogers, stay away from the body contact. You don't have to jump into Clairvaux. Just knock the ball away.
Barnett looking for St. Felix. Lee Moses there on the coverage.
Well, penalties and turnovers have been big here in this, quarter and couple of minutes here into the second quarter. The flags have been flying. We've had a punt return for a touchdown called back from the UMass end. We have a fumble that was overturned, or at least what I thought was a catch and a fumble overturned as well.
2nd and 10. Barnett hit as he throws, and Brighton Barr has an interception. Does he have the speed to take it all the way? Barr knocked out of bounds. This one will count. Second takeaway for UMass. Jordan Cronkite got there to save the touchdown.
And Eric, it all starts with the pressure in the pocket on Blake Barnett, as this UMass defensive line has been active here in this first quarter. A big hit from Joe Previti, and then Brighton Barr just has the football in his hands, and the only thing you see are the flowing locks out of the helmet as he works his way down the field. A little stiff arm there on Cronkite, got up around the face. And here's the big pressure from Previti. Watch 98. Here he comes, he beats the guard, and then bang.
UMass has been hitting Barnett, so they've been getting to the quarterback. Ford, play action, throwing it into the end zone. It's got a man wide open, and UMass is in front. The freshman from Montreal, Samuel Emelis, scores, and the Minutemen score points off the turnover. 13-10, extra point upcoming.
Well, I wonder if this was a busted coverage from the Bulls, because Emelis is standing at the top of the U in the end zone. You'll see him standing here. Watch as football gets floated up to him. Look at him. There's nobody within 5 yards of him in the end zone.
Cooper Garcia on to attempt the point after. UMass Minutemen on top of USF in the second quarter, 14-10, Gresh.
Well, there have been penalties, there have been issues, there have been calls, there have been plays overturned, but
Samuel Emelis getting the touchdown for the Minutemen. We've got that old school look from 1998 as they celebrate that national championship team honored this weekend, inducted as a team into the UMass Hall of Fame. More on that a little bit later on. Kick heading out of bounds. That's one way to limit that USF return game, although that means that USF will start off at the 35-yard line. A late flag comes in. There's a UMass player down, and there's the flag. That's going to be against USF for a nasty hit, I would think, Gresh.
That's John Lucier, one of the tight ends, number 40. Actually, that may be Michael Naismith. There's two number 40s on the roster for UMass.
Now, the athletic training staff saw right away. They were sprinting onto the field.
Yeah. And the flag came in late. It was almost pretty reactionary.
Fouls on a play. Kick out of bounds, kicking team. Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness with targeting. Return team.
So they'll go to video review to confirm the targeting call.
For the review.
All right, so we'll take a timeout here as well. 13:37 to go in the second quarter. UMass up 4. See the scene here in Amherst as the teammates of Michael Nesmith, the player injured for UMass, all taking a knee. I think they're going to call for either the stretcher or the ambulance to come on. We have not been able to see on replay what happened. So the officials right now are on their headset talking to the video review judges a couple of booths down from us. We'll see if they have a look at it, but we do not. But Nesmith hasn't moved from that spot. You can see him there.
Yeah, stabilizing the neck. And Eric, you know, targeting has been really one of the hot button calls, in college football over the past couple of years. And, you know, some of the indicators of targeting, launching into a player, crouching and upward thrusting into a player, lowering or leading with the helmet before taking aim, or an attacking player. Because I think when people think targeting, it's, oh, he hit him with the crown of the helmet. It's much more than that. The player's got to be aware. The player can't be defenseless. You know, back in the day when I played in the 90s, in the mid-90s, you could pick people off piles. That stuff has been cleaned up and legislated out of the game. So there's a lot of different definitions that go along with this targeting rule.
See acting head coach Ed Pinkham out there, the team gathering in prayer, upper left part of your screen as they do bring the stretcher out. This was the scene we went through a year ago. Remember when Andrew Ford suffered an injury and they had to take him off the field in the stretcher. So this is very reminiscent of that moment as the team gathers.
And this is where the advancements in medicine relative to the game of football have grown by leaps and bounds. You know, when you used to get concussed as a player, it just waves some smelling salts under you, ask you what planet you're on, and make sure you're okay. But now, stabilization of the neck. I mean, the training staff and the crew here at the University of Massachusetts were on it right away. They made sure Naismith didn't roll over, do anything to jeopardize his health in any way. And you could see how they were taking great care in stabilizing his neck as they brought the stretcher out onto the field. There's a lot of science and study that has very much gone into making sure players with head and neck injuries are taken care of in a way that we never saw a decade or two ago.
So as they ready the stretcher to take Michael Nesmith off the field, we'll step aside one more time. Be back to Amherst in a moment.
Now is not even moving on the field.
Back here in Amherst as they continue to attend to freshman Michael Nesmith, injured a moment ago. Nesmith from Hallandale Beach, Florida, was injured on kickoff return. Targeting was the call. While we were away, the officials confirmed the targeting call. So Trayvon Sands, you see him there, he has been ejected. He was the one who was whistled for targeting. So Sands is done for the day. Targeting call on the field upheld by video review.
One of the things this will do for the USF offense, with Sands being ejected for targeting, they're already down Elijah Mack, the sophomore running back. They're down Duran Bell Jr., a redshirt freshman who's had some carries. So with Trayvon Sands being disqualified, now it really gives you Jordan Cronkite, who we know has been in and out of the lineup a little bit, and then Johnny Ford, the young 5'5", 168-pound freshman, and then you're starting to go down the depth chart a little bit. So from the USF standpoint, as they work on Michael Naismith here, you know, there is a trickle-down effect. Not only do you lose Sands as a player on special teams, but also you lose him within the context of your offense.
That foul will be accepted and be re-kicked. We will enforce a 5-yard penalty. After the penalty,
so you can see they've put Nesmith on is back on the backboard, still keeping the head stationary.
15-yard penalty.
Jennifer Brodeur, the athletic training staff for UMass. See Charlie Strong, the USF head coach. And again, this is something they had experience with a year ago when Andrew Ford was taken off the field in much the same way. And as Andy mentioned before, just an abundance of caution. You don't want to read into anything, but sometimes you see, folks around with a little bit of a smile. You're like, okay, let's just hope that they're just like, let's be perfectly safe here and make sure this young man.
Well, they've got him on the board. They've kept the helmet on too,
yes,
which sometimes is it's a sometimes indicator as to what may or may not really be going on. But you could see they have him stabilized, and they've stabilized him very carefully, and then getting him onto the stretcher to come off the field. And you're right, there may be no long-term injury here, Eric. It's a matter of making sure that they take great care in handling him to get him to a medical facility to get checked out.
See the UMass players now kind of sprinting over to try to, you can see there's Nesmith with the fist bump for a handful of his teammates as they all try to race over. See Marquise Young leading the cheers at Bonna, Brighton Barr, thumb up from the freshman out of Florida. Saw Director of Athletics Ryan Bamford on the field as well.
He was right beside us about 5 minutes ago and hustled down there to check it out.
And he was able to get us some information last year on Ford. We'll hope to get a report. We'll get Matt Goldstein on it as well if we get a report throughout the course of the day as they take Nesmith off to a waiting ambulance here. Okay, so let's sort things out. Remember, there are 2 penalties on the play. Targeting, which was upheld, and Sands was ejected for targeting. Kick went out of bounds, so they're going to re-kick, but they're going to do it from the 45-yard line after they march off the penalty.
And so far, UMass has had some issues kicking the football off the tee here on kickoffs, Eric. I'm a little surprised how Garcia has had some issues on kickoffs. I mean, it's 2 now that went out of bounds and 1 offset, obviously, because of the targeting penalty. But if they just keep giving USF great field position on these kickoffs, they might have to go to another strategy here at squibbing these things on the ground.
There was a little bit of a breeze earlier. Flag's not moving right now as Garcia gets set to boot it away. One kick return so far for USF for 64 yards. See if Garcia can get this one out of the end zone. And he will. So the penalty helpful in that sense for UMass as it'll be a touchback. Well, so far the Minutemen, big underdogs in this game, more than 2 touchdown underdogs to USF. They gave up a play on the first play from scrimmage that counted for USF. There was a penalty on the first play, but then the first play from scrimmage, 72-yard touchdown. You think, well, here we go. Katie barred the door because it's going to get out of hand early, but after falling behind 7-0, UMass has outscored USF 14-3.
And again, this is really at their core a run-based offense. They've been in the top 10 in rushing in NCAA football the past 3 years. But Blake Barnett can throw.
And they go to the ground and they get a big run from Ford. The freshman down to the 45-yard line in UMass territory.
Well, that's really what they want to be right there. And little Johnny Ford does a nice job of just kind of ducking behind the offensive lineman and it's right off the right side. He is slippery, I'll tell you. Tough to tackle.
The pitch to Ford. Barr there to string it out, and he's got help. Barr and Otto. Otto's been a factor in his first game of the season.
Very much so.
Loss of 4 on the play.
Well, and they can use 26 in the lineup consistently, and this is just a toss to the left-hand side. We chronicled how Brighton Barr is a sideline-to-sideline player among the players there, and you mentioned Addo on the spot as well. Doesn't look like Addo has really missed very much time, quite honestly, with the way he's played out there.
Ford was injured on the play, and he was down right off the field, and the officials pointed it out, so you can see he's taking a couple of steps out of harm's way.
So they may be only down to Cronkite at running back
at
right
the
now.
moment. That's all they have. Barnett will go to the air, and it's through the hands of Wilcox. 3rd and long coming up for USF. Again, Cronkite, their number 1 rusher, averaging 101 yards a game. Ford, their number 2 rusher. Bell and Mack out today, and Sands has been ejected.
Sometimes you just got to survive through these weeks with all the injuries. You've only got so much depth, and when it gets chewed up, you've just got to alter the way you play.
3rd and 14. Barnett steps up in the grasp of Brighton Barr, who brings him down for a loss. Another sack for UMass.
Well, USF can't live in 3rd and 10 plus, which they've been in a couple of times today, Frito. And then you see Brighton Barr, the pressure on the outside. They bring Ingram, and then Brighton Barr. Look like a little bit of a hugger blitz there. Wait, and then the delayed blitz up the middle.
2.5 sacks now in the season for Barr. Isabella takes it at the 17-yard line. Andy Isabella finds an opening and is brought down at the 36-yard line. Davian Sutton with the tackle after the 18.
Let's go, man.
Join us next Saturday for college football on 11 Sports, 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Central Arkansas takes on Stephen F. Austin in Southland Conference action. Then out to Big Sky Country, Weber State hosting Eastern Washington, 6 o'clock Eastern. All the action on 11 Sports. UMass has not had a lot of success on the ground so far in this game. They lead 14-10, but 0 net yards rushing for Marquise Young. Picks up a few.
Yeah, Marquise Young has got to get it going. This offensive line is going to have to get it going for them to be able to run the football, but a nice job by Young to juke Ronnie Hoggins Jr. in the open field.
Gain of 5. Ford to throw, looking for Isabella, makes an adjustment, but not in time. Intercepted. A flag is thrown on the play. Mike Hampton, the sophomore out of Tampa, looks like he has his 2nd interception of the season, but let's check the flag. It's going to go against USF.
Defense number 7, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
The ball underthrown a little bit by Ford.
Just looked like
too much air under.
It didn't look like Hampton was just making a play on the football. Watch this one more time.
I think it's the hand right there to push Isabella away, and Isabella does a nice job of kind of embellishing it a little bit and going to the ground. But the fact that Hampton had the arm completely extended, the official had to make that call.
5 penalties for 60 yards for USF. They trail by 4. We're still early in the 2nd quarter here in Amherst. Flag on the play. Ford. Broken up, intended for Brennan Dingle, who has a touchdown reception here today.
One official on the far side has got USF offsides, but we also have a 2nd flag down towards the USF sideline.
It's number 18, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
We had the head linesman and the line judge who both threw flags each on opposite ends of the field, and I think they saw the same thing in terms of poor alignment there by USF, who, by the way, are killing themselves with penalties today so far. And, you know, some of them are big where you're trying to make a play on the ball, and some of them have just been mindless penalties that drive coaches nuts.
2 turnovers and 65 yards worth of penalties. 1st down and 5. Young's got it. Young keeps moving the pile, and Young is going to spin forward for what looks to be enough for a 1st down.
Good push by the offensive line. Watch Jake Largay right there, 79, working on Hampton. Just literally picked him up and moved him.
Down inside the 30-yard line, Isabella.
Well, the one thing we're starting to see from UMass offensively here, Eric, is speeding it up, getting to the line of scrimmage. USF really can't substitute. Guys are getting tired out there, and you got to make tackles in the open field on Andy Isabella when you're gassed. It's even more difficult than it already is.
We know UMass can move the football, averaging 35 points a game, 483 yards a game. Throwing underneath, a lot of room here for Dingle. Has good speed, but a good play by Hampton for USF to stay right with him, keep him short of a first down.
This is great execution by Andrew Ford. They send the blitz, and he throws to the vacated area. See the blitz coming at him, boom, hit him on the crosser, and then let Dingle do the rest and get as many yards as he can. Good awareness by Andrew Ford.
2nd and 3 for the Minutemen, up by 4. Bad snap, it gets through, and a big-time play to get to the football and get the turnover. Jawan Brown shoved a UMass player out of the way to get to the football. I think it was Marquise Young.
Yep.
And covered it up. Takeaway for USF. They've got it.
Well, the snap gets away from Andrew Ford, and watch Brown. Boom! Pushes Marquise Young just right from behind, right down to the ground on his way to the football. So you understand the size difference. Marquise Young, 6'1", 210 pounds. Jawan Brown, 6'2", listed at 261 pounds. And when you're turning and trying to react, you get that push from behind. You got no chance to jump on that ball.
First turnover for the Minutemen. And on the ground, Cronkite, grabbed by Barr.
And it looks like USF is going to try to get up on the football and play fast now. Keep an eye on number 96 in white, Mario Patton. The reason that play got blown up is because he's getting great interior push. Working in that guard center gap, was behind the line of scrimmage, lickety split.
2nd down. Barnett quickly to the outside to Tyree McCants. Going to be about a yard short of the first down. Talked about Barnett's journey to USF. Started out at Alabama, actually started the 2016 opener for the Crimson Tide, replaced by a guy by the name of Jalen Hurts. Perhaps you've heard that name thrown about in college football once or twice.
Pretty good.
Transferred to a junior college, as USF looks like they've got just enough for a first down.
Mario Patton on the tackle.
Patton again is there. They're putting it right on the line.
I was waiting the official was going to tell, but I don't think anybody did. Now they move. It's a first down.
They have moved. Barnett throws it outside. They try to set up a screen, but UMass. Minutemen flying around on defense, and they're making sure when they get that first contact, there's not yards after that first contact.
Yeah, trying to work the outside once again, and a great job not only by Jarrell Addo, but Tyler Hayes, first guy to the football. Jarrell Addo adds a bit of versatility to this defense. You can walk him out in coverage. You can leave him in to play the run. I think it helps Ed Pinkham when USF goes fast that he's on the field.
Loss of 3 on the play. Barnett throws deep. Moses there on the coverage. Pass intended for Randall St. Felix. We talked about Barnett's jersey. Alabama journey. Alabama to junior college to Arizona State. Won the job in the preseason, completing 64% of this year. Now playing catch-up football, but that's a position season.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, Barnett threw for 411 yards in that comeback win against Illinois.
3rd down. On the draw. Barr stops him 3 yards short of the first down.
Well, how many 3rd and 10 pluses has South Florida been in offensively today? Feels like almost every one of them.
Well, it goes back to what Charlie Strong talked about this week about being better on first down, but they've had 2nd and long, 3rd and long here today.
Not going to be good on 3rd down because you're going to be in situations like USF has been in all day.
High punt from Fredericks. Isabella. That's a bounce out of the end zone, and it will be a touchback. Let's head downstairs to Matt Goldstein.
Guys, good news for Michael Nesmith. He was responsive to the athletic trainers and doctors on the field. He has been taken to a local hospital for further evaluation.
All right, Matt, keep us updated if you get any more information. Probably won't come today.
Right.
But we wish the very...
And you got to feel good. Bumps to his teammates when they all came over, so at least it left us with a good feeling that long term he's going to be okay, and let's hope that is the case.
Hotel UMass has it all.
7:10 to go, second quarter. UMass with the offense back on the field, 1st and 10 from their 20. They roll the left-handed forward, throws underneath, and it's complete. Isabella, 10 of 11 passing for 127 yards and a couple of touchdowns.
Well, I know on the second drive of the game they inserted Ross Comas, and I don't think we've seen him since. It's been Ford the rest of the game. Comas had a chance getting in there early on in this first quarter, and Ford's playing very well.
On 2nd and 1 with the pressure coming, throws it incomplete. Isabella with 4 catches for 49 yards.
You know, that was right there a productive incompletion. 2nd and 1, South Florida brings the blitz. Nico Sawtell was right in his lap, and he got it out there just enough to not get the old intentional ground, to be a smart incompletion. Not all incompletions are bad, because they had it at 3rd and 10. Instead, now it's still 3rd and 1.
Fredericks comes out of the backfield. He's the intended receiver, and he's got the first down.
And right now, UMass seems to have some answers against the USF blitz. We saw earlier, blitz throw to the vacated area, blitz off the edge right there, flip it to the running back.
And spreading the wealth. That's the 7th different receiver for UMass.
Great point there, Frito. Exactly right. Andrew Ford always has had this ability to get the ball to different receivers.
Somehow he got that in there to the freshman whose stock is skyrocketing right now. Samuel Emelis, another first down.
You can tell when Andrew Ford is in the zone, because not only do they get up on the line of scrimmage, but on that last play, ever subtle movement into the pocket to create a throwing lane.
1st and 10, Ford to Isabella, flags come flying in. Now Ford is down. Is this going to be roughing the passer or holding?
Number 57, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Ray Thomas Ishman, as Andrew Ford is a little gimpy there talking to our referee.
Ford definitely got hit, and he's looking for the roughing the passer call.
He's arguing if it was low, so side there's Ray Thomas Ishman, who's just, they kind of banged into him a little bit. Look, that's on the left tackle. I mean, I've been there where you're on an island and you've got to find a way to block a guy. You need better technique there from Ray Thomas Ishman, who had both hands on the top of the jersey of Greg Reeves.
Big pop. Fredericks hit hard. Vincent Davis, the freshman, comes flying through.
No fear from the rookie there. Flying up the field and knocking somebody down. That's what you see out of your young defensive players. He's a part of the group that rotates at nickel with Ronnie Hoggins. Boy, coming up, making a big stick there.
2nd and 20. Reeves with pressure from behind. Ford throws it away.
Gee, what a shock, another 3rd and long. Except this time, it is for the Minutemen on 3rd and 20. With the clock rolling here in the, with the play clock rolling here in the second quarter, 4:42 to go. And there you see the 3rd down production. I'm going to say that 4 of those 6 third downs for USF, I think, have been in the 10-plus variety.
This one for UMass is in the 10-plus variety. 3rd down and 20.
We've advanced to 20-plus variety.
They're going to call timeout just as the ball was snapped. Spencer Whipple leaned over to an official and called a timeout.
It's funny, we saw Ed Pinkham and Spencer Whipple talking there on the sidelines, and I think Andrew Ford was hard counting USF right as they were about to jump. The timeout came in.
So as they huddle up, we'll tell you that 11 Sports has launched a digital channel on twitch.tv. Tune in weekly to watch football, basketball, hockey, darts, rugby, Quidditch. That's Gresh's favorite and more, streaming live on Twitch. Follow us at 11 Sports next and never miss a minute of the action.
Are you a Twitcher?
Well, I feel like I should be. I feel like I'm missing out.
Well, I know you have an impressionable youth in your house the way I do.
That's true.
They're onto these new fandangled ways of consuming content.
3rd down and 20 for UMass.
Isabella lined up in the backfield, now in motion. That's a coverage indicator for Ford.
They go with a handoff to Fredericks. USF is ready for it, and down he goes. Josh Black on the tackle, and UMass will be forced to punt.
Josh Black.
Interesting call there. I thought they were going to try to work something short to Isabella and have him make some people miss, but instead they choose to hand the ball off underneath and keep the clock running here. Put the pressure on this USF return game here as the time winds down in the 2nd quarter.
Sanders back deep, 4th punt of the afternoon for the Minutemen. It's Reynolds handling it. Rugby-style kicker, and Sanders calls for a fair catch at the 22-yard line. Looks to be flag free. We haven't been able to say that on a lot of plays here in the 2nd quarter. That shows 4 minutes to go on the clock.
No, but I'll tell you what, it's getting a little chippy out there. There's some woofing going on. I think USF is starting to feel some of the pressures. You mentioned they come in as the heavy favorite. They receive votes in both of the polls. I do believe they were either 27th in both polls or 27 and 28, and now down 4 on the road to a UMass team that's very much live today and has done a good job of bouncing back after that initial USF touchdown early in the 1st quarter.
Now Barnett 3 of 9 passing in the 2nd quarter after going 7 of 8 passing in the 1st quarter. And that's a drop. We've seen 3 drops today. That hasn't helped out USF's hopes on offense as they trail by 4.
Blake Barnett coming into this game, a 64% completion percentage, over 1,000 yards passing, 1,104 to be exact. But it's those 4 touchdowns in the running game. Barnett has not been able to really hit UMass on the ground yet.
Cronkite on the run. Big hole. This went the distance in the win against ECU. Isaiah Rogers has an angle to slow him down. It won't be a touchdown, but it's a huge gain for USF. That was desperate for a big play on offense, and they found it from their running back.
Talk about getting the quarterback involved in the run game, and boom, there goes Cronkite over the right side in the zone read. Really nice job by number 78, the right guard, William Atterbury, getting up at the 2nd level to spring Cronkite, and great hustle by Isaiah Rogers to cut him off at the pass.
1st down and 10. The give is to Ford. Ford fights his way towards the goal line. It's going to be just short. Brought down at the 1.
Exact same play call, different back. They went right back to it, right over the right side, and here comes Cronkite back in the game. But same concept.
After a 66-yard run, Cronkite to the sideline for 1 play, and here he is.
He wants that score.
1st and goal from the 1. Flag flies. Barnett is in the end zone for a touchdown, but let's see what the flag.
Ruling on the field today, touchdown. Flag on the play.
I think it's against
UMass.
Yep.
Offside. Defense number 30. The penalty's declined. Touchdown.
Boy, that was quick. A ripper off the right side for Jordan Cronkite. And then we talked about Barnett in the run game. And here's where he can beat you. Almost looked like the football was about to slide out of his hands. It appeared he got across the goal line before the knee was down. And there you go, 3 different players accounting for pretty much all the yards on the drive on the ground. And UMass calling a timeout here.
UMass.
So UMass takes the timeout. And Pinkham perhaps
taking the timeout to get a little look at it, a little review here maybe.
Wanting a chance to see. Let's watch it one more time. Watch Barnett's knee. Is it on the ground before that ball crosses the goal line?
Ball kind of wiggling around a little bit on him in his hands, and there's Shedenu Agbana trying to make that tackle. You can see him working hard to get the ball and bring him down, and you know what?
Yeah, that right knee's down.
Yeah.
He is not in the end zone on that from that angle.
Well, that's a great tackle there by Agbana.
But the call was upheld by video review, so the point after attempt for Weiss. Well, now the officials blowing the whistle dead.
On a further review.
Well, now they're going to.
Well, you know what? This will come back. I think we saw the earlier from Bryce McAllister, and then there's a catch and a tuck, and you think is going to turn into a fumble. It's a great tackle by Agbana. Yeah, and in fact, not only could you tell the across the goal line, he is struggling to hold on to the football as Agbana is bringing him down just in front of the goal line. So then they have to get back out on the field there and run a play. Because I don't think this is a touchdown. We get the top look at it right here. Look at Agbana step up and do a really good job in the zone read, and then he tackles the player and the football. Tough to tell from that angle exactly where the knee went down, but we saw in the other look, the knee was clearly down. Well, I was wrong earlier, so I might be wrong on this one, but man, I don't think this is a touchdown.
I didn't want to point that out.
That's fine. I mean, you know, I don't think he's in is because Sal's body is twisted right there, and then that knee is down, and the right hand isn't even on the football because it appeared it was coming out. So how could the ball almost be coming out? And
after further review, yard line, it'll be second goal at the half-yard line. UMass is not charged with a timeout. They have one timeout.
There was time to say, look, is this a touchdown? And it was not a touchdown after we saw in the review the challenge. USF is looking at about a foot.
Second down and goal from the
second down for the Bulls. 3:07 to go in the second quarter.
I got a funny feeling the USF, they're not going to mess around here. They're just going to hand it off and try to get this ball into the end zone in between the tackles.
Cronkite had the big run, 66 yards. He's got a couple of touchdowns this year. Does he get the call here? He does, and it looks like he's short. He is. Third and goal coming up.
UMass ready for it. Could see Blake Barnett kind of turn and look at the sideline. He's looking for the play call. O-linemen are getting up on the ball. A little wonky on the exchange there between Barnett and Cronkite, but clearly held out in the end zone.
Third and goal. Barnett to pass, in trouble, and UMass has him, and down he goes. Ball came free, but he was tackled, and Barnett is hurt. Now being helped up to his feet. Great stand by UMass. Ball will be spotted at the 8-yard line. Brighton Barr once again is there for the Minutemen.
There's your zone read look, and they try to throw it. It's Jarrell Addo again. And you can see Blake Barnett hit cleanly, but look at the way he bounced off of the turf right there. That'll give you some cobwebs, no question. He hit the turf very hard, but what a stop by this UMass defense.
Weiss is on to attempt a 25-yard field goal, and it is good. Even though UMass gave up points, that feels like a winning defensive trip for the Minutemen. Video replay overturned a touchdown, and the defense came up, and you make a great point. As Barnett went down hard, his face mask.
That's why the ball popped up, because of how hard he hit the turf right there. I mean, that was a big stick, but a fantastic job by this UMass defense of not biting on the play fake. There you see Brighton Barr, but so far in this first half, Frito, it's really been the addition of Jarrell Addo, the senior 6'1", 200-pounder. He's sort of playing that, sort of hybrid whip, nickel, whatever, however you want to call it. Everybody calls it something different, but you can walk him out in coverage. They've been bringing him off the edge. His addition has been huge for this Minutemen defense here in the first half.
1:43 to go, second quarter. Kick to Marquise Young at 4. Young, fumble, free ball, recovered by USF. Well, still fighting for it, but I think the officials blew the whistle dead. I think this is going to be Bulls football. This is going to be USF football, I believe.
I agree, they made the call. The officials were definitive in making it.
Young is the one with the football.
Rolling on the field is a fumble recovered by South Florida, first down.
Young with the ball in the right hand. We've seen this a bunch of times. Boy, a great job by number 14 there for USF.
Vincent Davis.
Big play.
Tight hole. Touchdown. Johnny Ford. His first career touchdown, and USF is back in front.
Other than that play-action play where Barnett really hit the turf hard, USF has been very successful running up the middle and over the right side of their offensive line. Look at the hole open up. Defensive end of that side does a good job of waiting on Barnett to make sure that he doesn't beat him on the zone read, but a hole opened up.
Point after is no good. Contact on the kicker. Did Rogers get a piece of it before the contact on the kicker?
I think Rogers got there so fast. He got there before the kicker was even at the ball. I think he would have had to stop to block it.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker. Number 9 on receiving team with targeting. The ruling on the field of targeting is under further review.
Well, I didn't see that. I know there was some contact there, and I know there was some helmet-to-helmet contact, but I don't think the intent from Isaiah Rogers was to commit a targeting call on a kicker.
Well, the kick is good as Rogers came flying through. I just saw Rogers in a blur, but the ball went through, so the point after's good.
Yeah, and what happens is because Rogers runs through it, he didn't mean to hit the kicker the way he did,
but I don't think I've seen a kicker hit that hard on any level of football.
He croaked him pretty good. Now that you go back and you see the replay, I mean, if Isaiah Rogers stopped, he might have been able to pick the football right off the foot, but instead he ran through the kicker. So now I understand the call, because at first it looked like he tried to stop himself to try to block the ball.
The ruling on the field of targeting is confirmed. Number 9, UMass is disqualified. The penalty enforcing a kickoff.
At first I thought he tried to stop, and when you saw it on replay, he didn't try to stop.
So the kick was good. Rogers ejected for targeting, the second player in this game to be ejected for targeting, one for each team. USF takes a 6-point lead, scoring quickly after the fumble by Young on the kickoff.
That is a massive loss for the UMass defense as well. Jordan Cronkite would have been in the end zone on that big run on the touchdown if it wasn't for the hustle from the backside of Isaiah Rogers, where he was able to really show that speed. That's a big blow for the Minutemen.
Well, UMass had a 14-10 lead, but a Weiss field goal. And then a 4-touchdown, 19-yard touchdown run for the freshman out of Miami. And USF on top with 91 seconds to go in the second quarter. Here's Matt.
Thanks, guys. UMass trailing right now 20-14, and they've been outscored 10-7. But the reason they're in this ball game is because they've really flipped the script in second quarters. On the year, UMass has been outscored 116-38. So doing a much better job in the second quarter today, guys.
See what they can do here with 1:31 to go. Young. Big hole, Marquise Young. First down, gain of 13.
Well, USF has the full complement of timeouts, so you've got to try to move the football here a little bit to be able to, to make sure the USF doesn't get the ball back with a timeout and a chance to move it.
Ford outside, Isabella into USF territory. Gain of 12 and a first down, so two good plays back-to-back for UMass.
Yep, very much so. Ball getting out quick, getting it into the hands of Andy Isabella. You know there will be a correction in the USF defense, probably rolling a safety over to that side at some point or trying to take away the flat. There you go.
And Isabella, again, it's enough for a gain of more than 10. Give him 11 on this play.
And Frito, we saw USF right there with the strong safety, Nick Roberts. That's a strong safety. You cheated up a little bit. I mentioned trying to take away the flat. If he jumped it, he might have had a pick six. So they're making sure Isabella doesn't beat him over the top or underneath.
First and 10 from the 37, 1:04 to go. 2 timeouts remaining for the Minutemen. Pressure coming. Ford underneath to the tight end. Gain of about 4 on the play for Kyle Horn. Second reception for Horn.
Here's your chance where you take a shot if you're going to take one. Try to get in the end zone.
Or tries to find his tight end again. This is incomplete. Third down play coming up.
Well, everybody checked up about 5 to 7 yards down the field. One receiver on the outside running the go route, and that hits Horn in the hands. Horn came into today with 8 catches for 78 yards. And, of course, we remember the impact Adam Brenneman had in this offense at tight end the last 2 years here in Amherst.
Zach Simon split wide to the right. Third down and 6 play coming up. Ford throws, incomplete. I think it was intended for Sadiq Palmer across the middle, but overthrew his target, so that stops the clock. USF has all 3 timeouts remaining, 33 seconds to go in the quarter.
Well, this is what I mentioned, but now that you got in deep into USF territory, it's a little different. You can kind of pooch kick it out of bounds if you want to. You can run a play here and maybe not be as worried. And by the way, I think Andrew Ford may have gotten away with one there. The safety in the deep middle slipped for UCF. If he doesn't slip, the way that ball sailed over the receiver's head, that might have turned into an interception.
UMass will go for it on 4th down and 6. Ford to Horn. Horn brought down at the 31-yard line. Gain of a couple. So USF will take over on downs. Clock is stopped with 26 seconds to go here in the second quarter.
Well, and this will be interesting to see how USF plays it. I wonder if they get a chunk play on first down, does that change the way they're going to play this from a strategic standpoint? There's Charlie Strong right there. The headset's on. So that tells me if they can get a chunk here, then it's let's go try to get a field goal. If this goes backwards, head into halftime.
Go on the ground and not much happening. Cronkite hit at the line of scrimmage, and the clock will continue to run. And USF may take one more step. Nope, there goes the headset.
Pretty common strategy. If you get a chunk on first down with those timeouts, let's try to make something happen. You go backwards, let's go into halftime, and that's what USF opts to do.
20-14, USF on top of UMass.
They're in it. They're in it, Frito. I mean, let's just call it the way it is. I know it's been ugly at times. It's been muddy. There's been penalties. There's been turnovers. We've had 2 players thrown out. But UMass is in this one.
Let's head down the field. Here's Matt with Ed Pinkham.
Thanks, Coach. Your overall impressions of the first half?
Our kids are really playing hard. You can see what happened on the goal line where we got them to snap the ball one more time, and we were fortunate enough to drive it back. Now we just can't shoot ourselves in the foot.
Talk about the way the team responded after the first play of the game, a touchdown, and then UMass able to come back and score.
We knew it was going to be a day where we were going to have to be resilient throughout the day, and we stressed it. The kids have responded, and just a great group of kids right now that are playing their tails off.
All right, thanks, Coach.
We appreciate it.
The resilient UMass Minutemen find themselves down by 6 at halftime. 20-14, our score at the break. Stay with us. Our halftime report is coming up here on 11 Sports. Halftime here in Amherst, Massachusetts. It's USF on top of the Minutemen, 20-14 at the break. Marquise Young has been an impact player since his freshman year here at UMass. He went for 240 yards in a single game against Buffalo. That impact has continued throughout his career, but he's also making an impact off the field as well.
Everybody in my family always went to the Boys and Girls Club. It's like a family tradition. So it was just normal for me to, begin my childhood there. The Boys and Girls Club shape a boy to a man and shape a woman, or shape a girl into a woman. You have a lot of people in the community, who just want to see you succeed and see you, become something great, even when you don't have, the resources or the people to believe in you. Mr. Mahoney, he's the head man there. He allowed me to come back when I was like 14. He gave me a job. Mr. Mahoney and Uncle Reggie and all those dudes was rooting for me to get to where I need to be. A lot of people from our neighborhood, made it to college, but got kicked out, or made it to college and wasn't, coachable. So he just told me, like, you're a good kid, and you got the community behind you and people believe in you. UMass was somebody who was loyal to me, and went to the Boys and Girls Club and talked to a couple of people who supported me throughout the years of my childhood. And a lot of people thought, I should go with the people who believed in me, and that's why I'm here.
His breakout was, his 83-yard run versus Notre Dame. We put him in, we were backed up, I think it was right before halftime. We called a base draw, kind of give us a little room just in case we need to punt it. And he had shown signs of being, an explosive, dynamic type back, but not to that level. He is very energetic, has a very big heart. He cares about everybody. It's a pleasure, to coach a kid who really wants to do the most he can to make life better for everybody. And now he can, as a senior, he can jokingly admit when he made the exact same mistake 3 years ago as a freshman, and turn to a Vic and say, you don't want to do that because I did that 3 years ago. It was in practice, I can remember it. And so now he's become an extra voice in the room.
If I would have never went through the struggles, I would never be who I am today. So I want to help out people from the Boys and Girls Club, kids from the Boys and Girls Club, and people in my community, just being there for them, getting them through the things that I have experienced and my brothers and people that I know have experienced. I know we lose a lot of people in our community every day that we love and cherish. You know, a lot of good people. But, you know, when it get hard and when it get tough, just remember that those people was with you every step of the way, rooting for you to succeed and hoping and wishing that you stay on the right track to succeed. You know, we might not be able to see them or touch them, but know that they're behind us every step of the way.
In the first half, Marquise Young, 6 carries, 27 yards as his Minutemen trail USF 20-14 at the break. Stay with us. Our halftime report will continue here on 11 Sports. We'll be talking to one of the all-time greats. Halftime here in Amherst, 20-14. USF on top of UMass. Eric Freed, Andy Gresh back with you here in Amherst. Pretty entertaining first half as UMass fell behind 7-0, but then battled back in this game. Had a lead for a long time, but those last couple of minutes of the second quarter belonged to USF.
Yeah, and I think that the turnovers are kind of catching up, and the penalties have really been a big part of this game, Frito. We've seen USF start to run the ball a little bit more in that second quarter. We know that's really what they want to be all about. We know they can fling it with Blake Barnett, but if they can get the run game going, they would choose to just lean on people and chew up clock, especially on the road.
Let's take you through the highlights. Very first play from scrimmage for USF was a Blake Barnett touchdown pass. Went for 72 yards, and UMass was up against it from the very start. But after this big play, they came right back and did some really good things in that first half.
They did, and Andrew Ford gets the ball to Brennan Dingle for the 31-yard touchdown, the old catch and run right there. And then we see Andrew Ford, who rolls out and gets the ball to a wide open Samuel Emulis. And then, unfortunately, the injury, but the thumbs up being wheeled off the field for Mike Nesmith.
Nesmith was carried off, and then UMass on defense was fired up. They had a couple of takeaways in that first half. Brighton Barr, another strong game, but then the giveaway late here, Marquise Young was hit, fumbled, and then USF would turn that in to points.
And once they were able to unpile the pig pile, it was Johnny Ford into the end zone for the touchdown, up the middle, untouched, a 19-yard run, and that gets us to 20-14.
USF took the early lead. UMass led for a good chunk of time in that first half, but it is the Bulls on top. 20-14 our score at halftime. Hall of Fame weekend here at UMass, and we are happy to be joined by one of the new inductees. Congratulations, James Ahitabo, for joining the Hall of Fame here at the University of Massachusetts. Must be a huge thrill for you.
Yeah, it was, exciting times. Come back, not only see the campus, see all the improvements that they've done around the program, and then also just be, honored amongst so many other inductees. It's definitely an honor, and I don't take it lightly, and I look at it as a blessing upon my life.
All right, how'd the speech go? How many times have you given a speech in front of a group of people like that?
Quite a few. 10-year NFL career, I've definitely given quite a few speeches, but in that audience, that crowd amongst this university and so many distinguished people at this university, like I said, it was an honor, and I didn't take it lightly. I didn't have a speech prepared. I spoke from the heart, and it was genuine, it was true.
You were inducted along with the entire team from the 1998 National Championship squad. What was it like to be in a group with those guys? Because you're a guy who grew up in this town and around this program, to see a national championship, then be a part of that program after.
Yeah, Eric, you said it. I grew up in Amherst, Mass, hometown guy, and being able to grow up and watching that 98 team play. And, I referenced even during my speech the game they played against Northeastern, and they won 77-0, and being able to see that as a young individual, a young child, and wanting to play here, wanting to play at this university, and then lo and behold, give me the opportunity by Coach Whipple through his time here, and then it all comes to fruition. Hall of Famer, Hall of Fame weekend, and UMass is playing some great football today.
All right, as somebody who played at the University of Rhode Island, I have horrible memories here. All I remember hearing is Randy Angalia running for like 500 yards on us. In a good way. What kind of memory burn do you have here at the University of Massachusetts?
One of my fondest memories is we played the University of New Hampshire here, and I think it was a semifinal playoff game, and the stadium was packed. We had 20,000 plus fans, and we won the game on a fourth down stop right here in the north end zone. So those type of memories and the energy, the atmosphere, the participation from the crowd. That's what I thrive on, and that's what I loved, and that's kind of what's helped perpetuate my career moving forward.
And you helped turn that into, I don't know if you're catching just the shine off here, but he's got his Super Bowl ring on today for your time with the Ravens, but 10-year NFL career. A kid, you were a walk-on when you first got here, right?
Believe it or not, I was a walk-on. I think I was
an NFL career.
I was a $145 soaking wet, So, I was a walk-on, and then I matured over time, and, by the time I left here, I was an All-American. We had so many great teammates that I played against with. Liam Cohen, he's an offensive coach with the LA Rams now, and Brad Anderson, who played linebacker here. So many guys that have come. Victor Cruz, we all know, who's phenomenal career in the NFL, and he's on ESPN now. So many amazing teammates that I had around me to help cultivate, my career and success and have done well themselves.
Okay, I'm sure you got a bunch of questions considering it's UMass and it's in New England. You played for that guy, William Hoodsworth Belichick. How many questions have you gotten about having played for him over the past, 36 hours?
One of the best minds I've ever been around. I mean, there was times when, I've gone into games, and it might have been a Saturday afternoon before the game, and we went through the entire week of running one scheme of defense, and he's come in and he said, you know what, we're not doing that. They're going to be in this personnel. They had an injury. They're running 4 wides, so we're changing our defense, and come out in the game, and they're in exactly what he said. And because he's such a student of the game, he studies films, he studies coaches' tendencies.
He's Yoda.
He's Yoda.
He's a Svengali, man.
He is. But one of the best coaches that I've had a privilege of being around and soaking up that knowledge. And I thank Belichick. He gave me the opportunity to start in the NFL, and we went to a Super Bowl my time in New England. We came up short against the New York Giants, but still I love playing in New England. I love the Patriots.
Well, I know they love having you back here on campus. It's great to see you, and congratulations on getting into the Hall of Fame. Hall of Famer, from a kid who grew up in this town to a walk-on to a Hall of Famer. That's pretty good.
It truly is, and all the kids that are watching at home, it is possible. What you put in your hard work, it always pays off. So thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
James, pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
James Ahedebo from the UMass Minutemen, Hall of Famer. I've got to remember to say that now. That you get that before your name all the time, James. A weekend where they're celebrating that national championship that came before James was such a standout here for UMass. We'll see what his alma mater can do in the second half, down by 6 next. Welcome back to Amherst, 20-14 USF as we get ready to start the third quarter. Let's head down to the field to Matt Goldstein.
Thanks, guys. Charlie Strong coming out just talked to me about what really went wrong in the first half. He said it all comes down to discipline. It was turnovers. It was penalties. 2 turnovers, 6 penalties. We're not a very disciplined team, is what he said. That's what USF is looking to correct this half, guys.
Well, we'll see what USF can do. It was a good finish to the half after they fell behind 14-10 on the 4-to-Emilus touchdown. A Weiss field goal, and then the 4 touchdown run has USF on top, 20-14. It's Marquise Young. Young with the fumble at the end of the quarter, and Young is hit hard again.
Marquise Young on return.
We got guys down on both sides. The hitter and the hittee.
Sariki is the one who delivered the hit. He's still down. And now Young is down on the field. Young started to head off, but now he's laying down at the 20-yard line.
Well, I think some of his teammates tried to help him up to help him get off the field. So that
team number 14 went out of bounds. It was the first player to come in and tackle the player. That 5-yard penalty added to the end of the kick, first down.
I was saying Davis was the first one to make contact.
And it kind of felt like they were trying to get Marquise Young up to get him off to the sideline to see if he could shake it off so they could get him back out there within the context of the offense. And there you see Sariki. He's up and moving.
Is Marquise
I think he's telling
good
him
hit?
I think he's either telling him good hit or that he's okay. And this is very clean. I mean, it's shoulder to shoulder. He comes in, he hits him in the chest. But boy, that is big time contact when you've got 2 people running full speed.
Well, hopefully you stayed with us at halftime. You got the idea of what kind of guy, what kind of person, student athlete Marquise Young is. We know he's got some toughness as a player as well as he heads to the sideline. Sariki off as well. So UMass will take over at the 24-yard line with Andrew Ford at quarterback. Ford in the first half was 16 of 21 passing for 179 yards and a couple of touchdowns.
The official stopped play here. I think maybe they're confirming the spot, considering the penalty. But regardless, we should be back to game action. As you see Charlie Strong, USF head coach, who told us during the week that we asked him about the environment of playing here at UMass, and he said, hey, I tell my guys, doesn't matter the environment, it's the football field that matters. Andrew Ford, only 5 incompletions.
Ford to throw, Dingle got away, but he was held before getting to that football. That's why he couldn't reach him. The point is there defensively.
Pass interference, defense number 23, 15-yard penalty, first down.
What did Charlie Strong tell Matt coming out at halftime? We're going to be more disciplined, and when he had 2 penalties, you get one on the kickoff and then one right here on the first offensive play that's going to push the ball near the 40-yard line. USF has been complicit in getting themselves in trouble. Take a look at the corner of the screen here, and there it is. You could see the wide receiver trying to fight through the contact of Maisie Wilkins.
Yeah, it was Maisie Wilkins on the coverage. She's the one who got whistled for the penalty. They bring the ball out to the 39-yard line. Here's Fredericks. Not a lot of room on that corner. That's LaPointe there on the stop.
You know, we've talked so much about
Mike. A flag comes in again.
Oh, boy. It was getting chippy at the end of the second quarter, and it seems like there's a lot of barking on both sides going on.
Face mask on UMass. Well, I think our referee thought he had the mic on. He just turned the mic on, so.
He's in reverse right now. There we go. I think he may have gotten it. You know, we talked so much about the corner, Mike Hampton. Maisie Wilkins, the senior on the other side, number 23. You know, at times he's been matched up against Andy Isabella. There's Ed Pinkham, the defensive coordinator, who I wonder what goes through a defensive coordinator's mind who is the interim head coach while the offense is on the field. Like, I wonder, is he thinking about his group, or is he trying to notice something to pass along to Spencer Whipple, today's play caller, to try to help springboard this offense?
You touched on it before. I think he's clearly giving the control and the reins of the offense to Spencer Whipple. Now, the decision-making, do you go for it on 4th down?
Right.
Any kind of those decisions will be kind of a group effort, with Pinkham getting the final say. Marquise Young back into the game. Swarmed and hit again, so USF flying around. They've hit Young hard a couple of times. Remember, they forced a fumble in the second quarter. He's hit hard on the kickoff return.
Yep. Here
to start the third quarter.
Jake Largay, one of the guards, slow to get up. Number 79, you see him get back. You can see him get into that right guard spot.
Second and 20.
I'm sure he's hoping it's a quick throw out of the hands of Andrew Ford. He was limping pretty good.
Largay lined up at right guard. Listed on the 2 deep at left guard. Ford a little bit behind Dingle. Dingle brought down at the 36-yard line. 3rd down and about 13 coming up now for the Minutemen.
Boy, both these teams have found themselves on early down and distances just being pushed back. Penalties, inconsistency. And we haven't seen Andy Isabella really get going just yet. I think USF has done a nice job of trying to change the looks and be physical with him. They need him to get down the field here on 3rd and 13.
Both teams struggling on 3rd down here today. Each squad 2 for 7. UMass facing a 3rd and 13. They need to get to the 49-yard line. Ford dumps it off underneath, and it's an incomplete pass. Low throw. Young couldn't grab it, and the Minutemen will have to punt.
Well, again, you can't play from behind the chains, and when you're 1st and 22 and it turns into 3rd and 13. Andy Isabella was just springing free. We mentioned, watch Isabella's going to come across, and then to the top of the screen, boy, if Ford just had a second, he was behind the defense. You saw Isabella kind of, do the old dummy stomp and be aggravated, but he was open.
Georgopoulos. His punt, fair catch called for at the 25-yard line. And that will get us to a timeout. 13:01 to go in the 3rd quarter. USF on top by 6. USF on offense, and the UMass defense comes up with a stop on 1st down. Brevity and Agbana there to lead the charge. Agbana had 4 total tackles in the first half. Jarrell Addo led the way with 7 total tackles for UMass in that first half.
Yeah, and Brevity has had a really nice game, Frito. We've seen the pressure on Blake Barnett. He's been stout along the line of scrimmage. And you mentioned Addo. He has changed things today here for the Minutemen.
Brighton Bar 4 total tackles and a sack for UMass.
See, they got Addo 26 lined up right where the tight end is, so he can play the run, but he can also cover.
Cronkright breaks free again. To the 30, 20, he will score. Touchdown, USF.
Touchdown, USF.
77 yards.
Well, Cronkright stays upright. One hand on him, and it was the hand of Bryce McAllister, the safety, who was really the last man who would have been able to make the play. And then Cronkright, again, another chunk run, this time over the left side, and this time he gets in the end zone.
Weiss on to attempt the point after, but before the snap, flags fly. He'll push him back 5. I give Weiss credit for being out there. He took a hard hit from Isaiah Rogers on that targeting call that forced Rogers to be ejected from the game.
Yeah, very unexpected. You don't expect to see a targeting call on a hit on a kicker, unless it's on a kickoff and it's something that's a little nefarious in nature.
Point after is good. Jordan Cronkite, 11 carries, 172 yards, and this 77-yard touchdown.
Cronkite with the run over the right side towards the end of the second quarter, and this time no.
On October 13th, Eastern Washington will take on Weber State, 6 o'clock Eastern time, right here on 11 Sports. That's next Saturday. That's here on 11 Sports for the fans. Largest lead of the game right now for USF. They're on top by 13. UMass needs a big play. Here's a big play guy, Marquise Young. But USF all over him in the kick game again. Young pushes the pile, keeps moving forward. Give him an A for effort. Take it out to the 30-yard line. Back downstairs to Matt.
Jordan Cronkright having a much more productive role than he did 2 years ago. This is actually the second time that Cronkright has faced off against the Minutemen. As a freshman 2 years ago, he played in that game for the University of Florida. In that game, just 3 carries for 5 yards. Guys already today, 11 carries, 172 yards, and a touchdown.
He is the 4th running back to go for 100 yards or more against UMass this season. It's his 3rd straight 100-yard game. Went for 129 yards against ECU, had an 80-yard touchdown run in that play. Also 136 against Illinois. Played 24 total games for Florida before transferring to USF. Jordan Fredericks with the back flip and sticking the landing. Gain of 3.
Well, USF has really made those big plays on the ground, and we'll see if it turns into a consistent second half running game for them. Believe me, they ain't gonna cry about scoring on big plays. And there's Charlie Strong right there. And every football team he coaches takes on, I think, his likeness. They play defense. They're tough. They want to run the ball.
Ford, a little bit of hesitation. Fredericks hit at the line of scrimmage, now hit behind the line of scrimmage. Multiple flags fly.
The flag landed right by fullback Avian Peya.
If you want to push it, you say, hey, plus.
Third down. Charlie Strong decides to decline the penalty, so it will be third down.
There's Larnell Coleman right there, number 59, and wow, there you go. Hand on the face mask right there from Jordan Fredericks. Boy, it's been a sloppy game on both sides. We got to be up to 15 total penalties,
14 accepted penalties for 155 total yards combined for the two teams.
That's a lot for coaches to chew into when they get to the game film.
3rd and 10. Ford pressure from behind, gets it away right at the first down marker. Andy Isabella has enough to move the chains. 7th reception for Isabella for 85 yards.
But it doesn't feel like he's had massive impact, right? I mean, he's got numbers, but right now it doesn't. We haven't seen the big play. We haven't seen those deep throws to Andy Isabella. And of course, he had that punt return for a touchdown called back.
Back to the ground as UMass tries to get something going on the ground. Just 14 net yards rushing coming into this series, this game for UMass.
Yeah, offensive line not really setting the pad level, and I think down and distance gets in the way too. They've gone backwards a couple of times on first down, and that takes away your ability to want to run the ball.
Ford throws on the outside, ball comes free, and an incomplete pass. Intended for Dingle with Bentley Sanders there on the coverage.
Well, with the way the defender lifted Dingle off the ground, I wondered if he was going to get his feet in, but couldn't hold on to the football. The South Florida secondary, man, they are physical. We saw the big hit from Vincent Davis earlier. We see a good physical play right there from Sanders. This group gets after it for this Bulls defense. There it is, look at that. Lift him up. That's a good job of tackling and driving through the football there for Bentley Sanders.
3rd down and 9. Ford throws it up, underthrows it. Intercepted by Mike Hampton. Hampton has his 2nd interception of the season, coming off a big game against ECU. Keeps it going here against UMass. And USF will take over.
And if there is one criticism of Andrew Ford, is that at times the football can kind of float on him a little bit. As we look what he is looking at, there he is down the field, but instead of putting a little mustard on it, he floats it up. And the interception.
5th interception for Andrew Ford this season. USF takes over. Addo has another tackle as he wraps up Ford for a short game. Join us tomorrow for a college soccer doubleheader on 11 Sports, 2:30 Eastern. UC San Diego traveling to San Francisco State. Women lead off at 2:30, men follow at 5 p.m. All the action on 11 Sports for the fans. Here comes Brighton Barr on the blitz, throwing it up and going back to make the catch. And a great grab, and they say yes. St. Felix hauls it in.
He also got away with one. He pulled the back of the jersey of Lee Moses. Lee Moses is working the official there along the sideline. Watch St. Felix when he jumps up for the football. I think it happened just before with the right hand where he pulled right on the back of the collar of the shirt of Lee Moses.
22 yards, and then working quickly to Bronson. The senior has a couple more on a reception.
Chinadu Ogbonna on the tackle.
Of course, the corner rotation for this UMass defense has been the apple cart's been turned over with Isaiah Rogers ejected for targeting in the first half.
Another run up the middle, this time Ford. Chris Hunt, redshirt freshman, taking Rogers' spot at the corner. Third down and 1 for USF. Give up the middle. They needed to get to the 29-yard line. Right now, they're spotting it at the 30-yard line, so it's going to be fourth down.
Yeah, they skunked them. Good job by this UMass defense of not allowing to be pushed around. And you can see Charlie Strong mouth it saying, go for it right there. And I don't blame him. I mean, at some point, you got to think Tyree McCants is going to get back involved in this game in some way, shape, or form.
Up the middle, and once again, Cronkite breaks free and scores a touchdown on 4th and 1, 30-yard score.
When it comes to the zone read, the UMass defense has made sure that quarterback Blake Barnett has not burned them. However, the tailbacks have a crushing down block on defensive end Jake Bisco, and the rest is history for Cronkite. The house again, and USF is starting to feel it.
USF picks up points off the turnover. Weiss puts it through. 112 yards on the ground in the second half for South Florida. 77 yards and 30 yards for that young man from Miami. A couple of big touchdown runs for Jordan Cronkite. And USF has stretched it out to a 20-point lead here in the third.
Well, and talking to Charlie Strong during the week, he pointed out how big it is to have Cronkite back. 12-2-0-2, 2 scores. That's a lot of twos in there, and he's put up a ton of points today and has run the football. He's done a good job of running through contact at the first level. And then when there's no one there to tackle you, he's got the ability to do the rest. And we know that USF came in throwing at 290 a game, but this is what they really want to be.
Right now, USF doubling up UMass when it comes to yards per play. 9.4 yards per play for USF, 4.5 for UMass. Young, returnable from the 2. Young, hammered again, ball is free, picked up, and it's a touchdown for USF. Vincent Davis has been a wrecking ball for USF. And Young is down.
Boy, my initial reaction on that hit is, how was that not targeting? Because that sounded like a lot of helmet-to-helmet contact there. Maybe we will see something different. But nevertheless, South Florida with a big hit that is turned into a fumble for a touchdown, and here it is. I mean, that's helmet under the chin right there from the young blood Davis, who had a big hit earlier in this game, and then they scoop and score for the touchdown
by Davis.
Let's take a look at it one more time. You're trying to find 14 in green. Well, I don't know. That looked like the crown of the helmet caught Marquise Young right on the chin, and that's why he's laying down. Comes in unabated, head down. If that's not a targeting, I guess I don't know the rule very well then. He lowered with the head. He got him on the chin. I mean, part of the reason why Marquise Young is down is that shot that he took. I mean, we didn't see him move. It was almost like a prize fighter in a way who got tagged, and they just go right down.
So for the second time today, the UMass medical staff attending to a player on the field who is down, and we're not seeing a ton of movement for Marquise Young, the senior from Fairport, New York. We'll step aside, come back to Amherst, and there's some movement. That's good. We'll be back in a moment. Well, you're back just in time. Marquise Young live shot here, just sitting up and then helped up to his feet. 5th on the all-time rushing list. He has played a lot of football for UMass right from his freshman year. And slowly making his way to the sideline. Now, during the timeout, we were consulting a sheet we have to say, well, what is reviewable? And if it wasn't called on the field, can the replay booth initiate a potential targeting call? And the answer is yes.
Yep.
But it appears they have reviewed it. They have decided in the booth that targeting should not be called on that play. So lining up for the point after is Kobe Weiss. Touchdown stands.
I don't get that at all.
(41-14).
Kobe Weiss is good.
31 unanswered points for USF and Marquise Young going into the medical tent.
I also wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Marquise Young again in this game, because that was a pretty big hit.
And it's not the first one he's absorbed here today, Gresh.
No, it isn't. Marquise Young, I mean, this is part of the danger of a kick return. Yes, there's contact there with the shoulder, and I know you don't keep your head out of it.
But is the crown of the helmet?
When the crown of the helmet hits a guy on the chin, what am I missing here? I mean, really? I mean, it wasn't just he didn't do the old 1952 flipper and hit him with a chicken wing or something like that.
It's like Ed Pinkham looking for an explanation as well, Andy.
Well, and if you're a defensive coach, you're wondering, guys, what is and what isn't?
A little more speed here from Emilus. Again, you saw Vincent Davis flying in from the left, and Emilus just sprinted up the middle. Turns out to be a 30-yard return.
Yeah, I'm normally not one to get on officials, but that's also the second time we've had a pig pile of people on a kick return where you got 20 guys in the middle of the field, and on the last time they pushed and it gave UMass 5 yards, but at what point are people not moving and you blow the whistle?
Looks like Matt may have an explanation down on the field for the hit on Young. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, guys, I talked to the line judge right before the kickoff. He said that play was reviewed and it was not targeting.
I think we need to find out why was that not targeting. As Comis throws, Isabella's wide open. Isabella down to the 35-yard line. So Ross Comis into the game. We saw him in the second series. Comes up with a first down throw, 34 yards to Isabella.
Well, they need that. Get Andy Isabella back in this game. And, boy, this third quarter has swung dramatically, Frito, from 20-14 to now 41-14. UMass going to have to start playing fast.
Comis will slide down. Gain of 6. And Fredericks lost his helmet, so he'll have to head off for a play.
Now, I think he turned around to our white hat, our referee, Jeff McConaughey, and turned around and was trying to say, hey, did you see that? Like, he popped it off, leave me in the game, and the helmet came off, so he's got to come out for a play.
Bilal Ali is into the game for UMass. He has battled injury all season long. Comis, quick toss, and incomplete. Isabella looking for the call. Roberts there on defense.
Well, at some point, if you're UMass, you've got to stop worrying about the officials. Okay, it's happened, it's over with, it's done. Maybe there aren't certain things that they're calling, but you can't get wrapped up in turning and looking at the officials every time whenever there is some sort of contact. I think Spencer Whipple's got to remind his receivers, let's settle down, let's run our offense, and just fight through the contact the best you can.
Movement up front as Kegler made contact. This is offside. It's a first down.
Offside. Defense number 90. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Clearly to be offsides. No movement from UMass detected by the officials, so that will move the chains for the Minutemen.
Well, you start to move fast, hit them with a hard count, get somebody to jump off sides, and there you go. You get yourself a free set of downs here, down 41-14.
Isabella split wide to the right. Comas on the quarterback draw. Picks up a few.
Comas definitely adds a different element to the UMass offense because of his ability to beat you with the legs. I think some of that can be countered from this USF defense by just keeping in the rush lanes.
They set up the receiver screen for Isabella, who's dragged out of bounds after picking up a first down.
Nick Roberts on the tackle. Result of the play.
Best drive in a while here for UMass as they take it into the red zone. 1st and 10 for the Minutemen from the 14.
No question there, Frito. Opportunity to get some points on the board and sort of stem the tide that has swung USF's way.
UMass led 14-10. But the Bulls, with some takeaways, some big plays, some big hits, have gone on a run to go up 41-14. Comas, Isabella, incomplete.
Intended for Andy Isabella.
And this is where guys like Isabella are worth their weight in gold. They can run the short routes. They can beat people deep. You know, Andy Isabella is the kind of player who can pretty much take advantage of any sort of coverage that is out there. However, we haven't seen the motions across the formation as much. We saw it early today, and it's been gone ever since.
Frederick's back in the game. Comas takes it back, and Comas will take it into the end zone for a touchdown. There's that dimension that Andy just talked about with Ross Comas, as he'll score to stop that run by USF. 14-yard touchdown.
Well, exactly what UMass needed. Pending the extra point, they're still going to be down 20. Oh boy, they got lucky there where the defensive end from USF just ran after somebody who did not have the football. He really bit on the ball fake, and that made it easy for Comas to get to the second level and get in the end zone for a touchdown.
Cooper Garcia for the point after. That ends the 31-point run for USS. 7 plays, 69 yards in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So you had Comas in at quarterback. Ford had been effective early on. What was different that drive for UMass?
Well, I think they stayed on schedule. You know, it wasn't 1st and 20 from the whatever yard line. And when you can move the ball on first down, you can stay on schedule. And it sounds easy. I'm sure there are a lot of people at home who are thinking, well, duh, of course you got to do well on first down. But I don't think you really realize how being in 2nd and 12 completely changes the way you're going to call a game. And you see the total yards, USF with 421, UMass now up to 278 with Comas in the game, and the acting head coach Ed Pinkham has got to find a way to slow down this run game. Here's the danger for UMass right now, Eric, is that if they're worried about stopping Cronkite in between the tackles and on the zone read, that's where Blake Barnett may be able to hurt them in the run game. So you're going to have to pick your poison here if you're UMass and straight up just do a better job at the point of attack to try to muddy it up so Cronkite can't get those open holes.
Antoine and Sanders back deep. Comes to D'Angelo Antoine from the 3. Antoine brought down before he gets to the 25-yard line. You mentioned Jordan Cronkite. What a huge day. 13 carries, 202 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
You see him working off the right side right here, and then he is trying to get to the house, and if it wasn't for Isaiah Rogers, look at that elite speed from Rogers. He was able to shut the door, and then this time he's bouncing it to the left. Bryce McAllister misses him, and there is nobody to be able to catch Cronkite from behind this time as he ends up getting into the end zone. And then one more for good measure. Let's go right up the middle for Cronkite. And once again, he's loose.
Cronkite, another big run, and he will not be caught. 76-yard touchdown.
Boy, this is turning into a player of the week type performance for USF running back Jordan Cronkrite. Here it is again. One guy touches him at the first level, and then you got players on the ground that are just trying to throw themselves at his feet, and you're not going to be able to tackle him that way. The issue is, look, the missed tackles don't help, there's no question. The problem is he is getting to the second level of the defense with no one touching him.
So any thought of UMass momentum is squashed by Jordan Cronkrite. Cronkrite, 14 carries, 278 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And those touchdowns, 30 yards, 77 yards, and another 77-yarder.
That's amazing. And one that didn't get there because of Isaiah Rogers. That was a big chunk run as well.
66-yard run.
Holy cow. Here it is one more time, and look. One guy had a chance at him in the backfield, and then Bryce McAllister just diving as Cronkrite steps around him. Almost hawked down from behind by Chris Hunt, the corner who replaced Isaiah Rogers after Rogers was thrown out for targeting. Just no real push at the point of attack for this UMass defense right now.
Bilal Ali on this return for the Minutemen. Takes it out to the 27-yard line. Well, UMass has been giving up points in big bunches. 58 points to Ohio, 63 to FIU, 55 to... And USF at 48 points with 4:49 to go in the third quarter.
Pretty amazing. And again, when they get rolling like this in the run game, this is a very, very dangerous football team. Look, they're going to have a chance to win the American Athletic Conference, these USF Bulls, and at the rate it is going for both of these teams, they still got a long way to go, but that battle up I-4 may end up being for ramifications not only for a New Year's Six Bowl, but could maybe one of those teams from the American finally crash the party. Oklahoma lost today, so we know that's going to take some sting out of their chance to end up in the Final Four. I guess all I'm saying is that there is a path where maybe one of these teams in the American out of Florida might be able to shake up the landscape.
Comus ripped down for a loss. And just to refresh the memories of people who maybe aren't familiar, the war on I-4 is UCF and USF.
Yes, UCF, USF.
Our friends down in Florida know full well,
yes.
But our New England friends maybe, I-4?
Right. But I know we're on down in the Tampa market as well on 11 Sports, and a lot of, hey, Jim Levitt, it all started with Jim Levitt. He built that program from the ground up, and now we were talking in the open, for crying out loud, about how the last 3 and 4 years for USF, it's really been a boom down there for this program.
Flag on the play. Comus finds Sadiq Palmer. Palmer has the first down and more out towards midfield, but let's check on the flag.
Fence number 55.
Play will stand.
Decline, first down.
28-yard pickup and a first down for UMass. Well, coming off the bye week for USF, Andy, today starts 8 games in 8 weeks for USF. 9 games in the next 9 weeks if they make it to the American title game. And that war on I-4, they'll host UCF on November 23rd.
Yeah, and you look at the schedule, they get...
Comus, Isabella hauls it in, and Isabella reaching for the goal line. Touchdown, UMass. What a play. 63 yards.
And this is just an amazing individual effort by Andy Isabella to get in the end zone for the touchdown. Comus steps up, delivers it with 2 defenders around. Isabella makes the catch, and then look at the effort here. Look at him use the offhand and then reaching before he gets dragged to the ground to stretch it across the goal line for the touchdown. Andy Isabella is a special player.
10 catches, 124 yards for the senior from Mayfield, Ohio. Last week at Ohio, he had 12 catches for 198 yards.
Those final 10 yards were all him. What a great effort.
The math, I got to update the math. 11 catches, 177 yards.
There we go.
For Isabella.
Trying to keep up with all these yardages with all these big plays.
Well, I mean, look at the scoreboard. We've got 76 points on the board with 3:09 to go in the third quarter. 177 for Isabella as he comes through.
He caught that ball on the 15-yard line and found a way with 2 people on him to get 15 yards into the end zone for a touchdown.
Be a 53-yard touchdown for Isabella, and you can see his top games this year.
Last week at Ohio, he was just devastating. Here against Duquesne, they jumped up early. Isabella, I don't even know if he touched the ball in the second half with the way that one went on opening day. And then here against USF, finally getting into the end zone. But that's as tough a touchdown as you're ever going to see a wide receiver make a tough catch and then 15 yards with 2 people on him to get in the end zone for a touchdown. That is great work from number 5.
52 catches now on the season for Isabella. Now 25 career touchdown receptions. Cooper Garcia. Antoine from the 3. Good coverage by UMass. We'll see if UMass can get a stop on defense. They got a big play from Andy Isabella on offense. Here's Matt.
This week, Charlie Strong talked to us about Andy Isabella, and he was very impressed with him. He said that he's such a precise route runner. He finds ways to get open, and his speed speaks for itself. And Isabella, 10th coming into today, 10th in yards per game in the nation, 13th in catches per game.
First down attempt on a 77-yard line.
First and 10 for USF. Cronkrite brought down at the 22-yard line.
Well, here's the UMass needs right now, Frito. They got to start tackling the football. And we saw Bryce McAllister with a strip and rip as we have another UMass player down.
Tyler Hayes. UMass already thin in the secondary with Isaiah Rogers getting ejected for targeting.
Well, let's just do the quick math here. Isaiah Rogers, as you mentioned, out for targeting. I do believe Bakari Goodson, number 45, I saw him on the sidelines. He's inactive today. You've already got Chris Hunt in the game. If you lose Tyler Hayes, you're either turning it over to Brian Roberts Jr., a redshirt freshman, or Joseph Norwood, number 7, who's a true freshman. So, you know, the numbers are starting to dwindle a little bit here for the UMass Minutemen in the secondary. And you'd love to try to find a way, and it looks like Hayes is going to be okay there as he kind of jogs off the field, but you need that experience on the back end, considering you've got at least one young corner out there playing opposite the senior Lee Moses.
So it will be Joseph Norwood who is out there now, the freshman, with Hayes on the sideline. Barnett has it. Down he goes for a loss of about 2 on the play.
Well, we talked about with Cronkrite busting all these runs off the zone read, would that open things up for Blake Barnett? But UMass has been very disciplined all day long to make sure that Barnett isn't the guy who is beating them. And you got to be on alert here, too, on 3rd and 6. If it's a pass, you need good rush integrity, and you got to keep an eye on 11 scampering to get you a first down.
Barnett looking left the whole way. He's got a man open and going to be very close to a first down. I think the second effort is going to be just enough to move the chains. Jernard Phillips, sophomore out of Miami, with the reception, his first of the game. Back to the ground for Cronkrite.
And you saw that wide receiver stack at the bottom of the screen. So when you stack like that, and then you're going to run the zone read, what you've effectively done is slid either a linebacker out of the box or a safety has got to come up to help the corner when there would be, say there were two guys at the bottom of the screen like there were on the last play. So now you're getting numbers in terms of being able to, if a running back gets into the second level of the defense, they got a chance to hit a big one.
Cronkrite stacked up at the line of scrimmage. Addo got that last tackle. He's into double digits now with 10 total tackles on the day, 7 solo tackles for Addo.
It's a big addition. They've had a lot of injuries at linebacker. Guys like Cole McCrubry have been able to get some good playing time because of players being down. Tyrus LeBeau is a guy they've moved into that spot, but Addo is really the guy they'd love to have out there. You can see the versatility he provides.
Third down at 5, Barnett. First down throw. He's got his tight end, Wilcox.
You saw Barr there, second man in, trying to tackle the football, trying to rip it away. Good job by Barr of trying to being that second person to the ball carrier and trying to rip it out of the hands. And conversely, nice job by the tight end, Mitchell Wilcox, holding on to that football.
That should be the final play of the third quarter. As USF just looking at the sideline, I think Barnett wants to run another play, but
what quarterback doesn't?
Of course, he's going to make his way over, and that will do it for the third quarter. USF had a 20-14 lead starting the third quarter, but put a ton of points on the board in the third. They lead by 20 heading to the fourth. Join us in a couple of weeks, October 20th, as the Minutemen host Coastal Carolina, 3:30 Eastern Time. You'll see it right here on 11 Sports. A bye week coming up next week for UMass. They're going to need it after some of the contact they've taken here today. Coastal Carolina off to a very impressive start, 4-1. That was a game UMass and Coastal won by Coastal by 3 last year, 38-35. So Cronkrite adds to his school record total. He has set the new single game record for USF here today, held by a couple players at 275. He's now up to 291 on the day. So 300.
289 after the 2-yard loss. Oh, and now here we go. It's hard to keep up when you get these numbers
He picked up 2 to start the quarter. I was on my math that time.
You were?
Yes.
Because it had 2 on the sheet here that we were just handed for the third quarter stats, and then he gets a 2-yard run.
I could see how you would think that maybe, because the two teams have combined for over 800 yards. And USF is over 520. UMass is at 350 for total yards.
And Frito, USF, after 3 quarters on 31 carries, had 341 yards rushing. That is
question now for Cronkrite is, can he get to 300? Barnett will go to the air. Good catch by Wilcox at tight end. First down, USF. That was a 3rd and 9 play. They'll move the chains.
Well, right now, if you're UMass, I think you're just trying to survive at this point. South Florida has really grabbed control of this football game, and they've done it too. Actually, let me check that. They've done it one way, through physicality. They've run the ball very well. They've gotten Cronkrite onto the 2nd and 3rd level of the defense pretty easily. And let's face it, whether I disagree with the call or not in terms of how it was adjudicated, the physicality on the kick return team has been a factor here in the second half.
Cronkrite will pick up 6 more.
It doesn't matter who's been returning it for UMass. They've been knocking people around, have these USF Bulls.
Now, by my count, that should have him at 299 as Barnett throws outside. Phillips has the reception. They'll move the chains again.
Now, I know I'm kind of going off the old top of the head here, but I know Johnny Ford got dinged up earlier in the game. We mentioned that they were down to Cronkrite and Ford at running back. And I don't think we've seen the little guy in there since he had come off the field earlier in the game there, Eric.
And remember, Sands, also part of that running back depth chart, was ejected for targeting in the first half.
Not that Cronkrite's complaining.
Looks like he could run for 400 yards at this point.
Yeah.
Not on Mario Patton's watch, however, as he'll shove him back.
And obviously, if you're USF, you are miles away from home. You're in a completely different environment. They really put the flag in the ground to win this game here in the third quarter. And with 11:40 or so and running here in Amherst, USF now just looking to manage clock, don't turn it over, and get out of here with a win. And there's the little guy. There's Ford in there.
Barnett holds on to it.
Early.
Jake Bisco in on the stop. Clock continues to run. Approaching 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
I'll tell you what, when you get run on like this too, it really wears down your defense, not only physically, but maybe even more psychologically.
Third down and 9. UMass brings the pressure, picked up, Barnett outside, and Phillips can't get away. Going to be about 3 yards short of the first down marker. Tyler Hayes back in the game with the stop.
Nice job there by Hayes to make sure that Phillips didn't spring loose, but another opportunity here for points for the Bulls to be able to go over 50, and they're missing a guy. Comes a big old lineman onto the field to take that left guard spot.
Field goal attempt is on the way, and it is good. 10 minutes straight up to go here in the fourth quarter, and USF is over the 50-point mark.
Well, I can't add them all up, but I know this.
Weiss with a 38-yard field goal, capping off a 14-play, 62-yard drive, and putting USF on top 51-28 here in Amherst. So it's been a long stretch for the UMass Minutemen as this kick will sail out of bounds. There's the flag. They started with week 0, so this is the 7th game in as many weeks.
35-yard line, first down.
You close out that run of 7 straight games against a team that's 4-0, and as you just mentioned a few minutes ago,
has a chance to win and win big this year.
Yes, and also trying to break into the top 25, just outside the top 25 entering this game here today. So a week off for UMass before returning here to McGuirk to take on Coastal Carolina before a trip down to Rensselaer Field to take on UConn. Liberty back here for the final McGuirk game of the season, and then they'll take on BYU down at Gillette.
Those next 3 games are winnable for the Minutemen.
Russ Comas still in at quarterback. Andrew Ford is on the sideline.
Ross Comas, the ball carrier.
But Comas has been taking the snaps here for a little while. 3rd straight series for Comas.
You know, that Coastal game, little revenge factor considering what happened to UMass last year when they went down to South Carolina to play them. And UConn defensively has given up about 50 points a game. That might be a real shootout. And then Liberty is making the transition. So you would think the next couple of weeks, these Minutemen could get healthy, get some wins, and get a little momentum maybe before that BYU battle at Gillette Stadium.
Isabella with another reception, another first down. Comas trying to get out of trouble. He did well to pick up a couple of yards, but instead it's going to be a loss. So Andrew Ford still with the helmet on the sideline. Michael Curtis, number 17, who started a game this year, the win against Charlotte, after Ford and Comas were injured in that FIU game. Ford on the day, 19 of 27 passing, 199 yards, a couple of touchdowns and an interception. He was sacked. Simon. Good pickup on second down.
I like what we've seen so far of Zach Simon, the redshirt freshman. Frito, I know it's really only been the last 2 weeks or so, but you know, that's the one thing about being able to redshirt kids. You put them in the incubator, you let them grow, you let them learn, you let them figure out what they're doing, and then when you need them, they're ready to go. And Simon is taking advantage of opportunity.
Bilal Ali driven out of bounds. Very close to the first down marker. They're putting the ball right on the line. Maybe a smidge short. No, they're going to give him the first down, so they'll move the chains.
Great to see Bilal Ali back in the lineup and contributing to this UMass offense. He's a junior that they need to have the appropriate level of depth there to go with Jordan Fredericks. You need 2 or 3 nowadays to survive in college football, and they need Ali in the second half of the year.
Comas tried to find Simon.
And there's a little difference between Comas and Ford. On a throw like that, the accuracy from Ford, every once in a while, Comas will have a ball, it'll just, you know, just kind of sail on him there a little bit, and that was one of them.
Inside of 8 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. UMass had a 14-10 lead. Had a ton of momentum in this game after Ford's 13-yard touchdown pass to Samuel Emilis. That came off a Brighton Barr interception and a 53-yard return. So UMass off that turnover. They had forced a couple of turnovers. They led 14-10. But 10 points scored by
Defense
USF.
number 72, 5-yard penalty, third down.
Penalty against UMass. Gave USF a 20-14 lead at halftime. Then Cronkrite busted off the first of 2 77-yard touchdown runs. Ross Comas gets the call. Third down and 1 coming up for the Minutemen.
Third and 1. You got Isabella in man coverage.
UMass 5 of 12 on third down. Make it 6 of 13 as Ross Comas takes it down to the 10-yard line. 20-yard run.
Well, you know, if you're not going to throw it to Andy Isabella in man coverage with the safety in the middle of the field, then you come back and run it to the other side. Plenty of room for Ross Comas to be able to get the first down. And they need points in a hurry.
Comas has it again.
Ross Comas, the ball carrier.
Takes a pop after picking up 3.
Got to try to throw in the end zone here.
Little pump fake. And now Comas with the scramble and just throws it into an empty space.
It's one of those good incompletions I talked about earlier today. You live to fight another down. Not all incompletions are made the same, and a good job by Ross Comas. Slides out of the pocket. You can see him start working backwards, and then it's, oh, there's a lot of green guys coming after me. Kind of made it sound like he was evaluating alien life there with the whole green guys reference, but you understood what I meant.
Well, it's been a long game, and you're dipping deep into your analyst bag of tricks.
Well,
right
no
now.
question there.
Comas will take a timeout. 6:23 to go. We'll take the timeout as well. Be back to Amherst in just a moment. Huge day for USF redshirt junior Jordan Cronkrite, setting a school record rushing yards in a game. Right now, the USF defense on the field after the UMass timeout. Third down and goal from the 7 as Comus rolls right. Incomplete. Intended for Isabella.
3 wide receivers en route. 2 of them stop and work towards the sideline. And Isabella works inside, and there's a safety there waiting for him as well. Very aware as to where Andy Isabella is at all times. And hey, there were times where USF couldn't stop him, and he was able to rumble with 2 guys hanging on him for the final 15 yards to get in the end zone.
4th and goal from the 7. Pressure from behind. Comus gets out of trouble and throws a touchdown. What a play by Ross Comus, hauled in by Travis Reynolds. That scrambling ability coming in handy for the redshirt senior from West Virginia.
That's a great job by Comus in the pocket of wiggling free to give himself the ability to flip it to the Aussie, Travis Reynolds, for the touchdown.
First touchdown of Reynolds' career. Garcia on to attempt the point after. UMass has put 35 points on the board. Scoring has not been a problem for the Minutemen, averaging 35 points a game, stopping the other team from scoring. Ross Comus with the 7-yard touchdown pass on 4th and goal. 410 total yards for UMass, 559 total yards for USF.
16-point game, 2 scores, 2 two-point conversions. USF needs to be on onside alert here, or pooch alert.
Antoine. Just across the 20-yard line. Got the updated number on Cronkrite. 296 net yards. 296 school record for USF. Looks like Barnett's done for the day. His helmet's off. Lower left-hand part of your screen. Cronkrite heading out there, so he'll have a chance to go over 300 yards. And now in at quarterback, Chris Oladokin, sophomore, making his 2nd appearance this season. Cronkrite picks up 3, and a timeout called right away by UMass.
Yeah, Pinkham was right near the official to call that timeout. Trying to slow it down. If they get a stop here, they get the ball back. 2-point conversion. Now you're talking in terms of it being a 1-touchdown game. But you got to give USF a ton of credit here, Frito. On the road, they've done a good job of weathering the storm that was the first half. They go in up 6 and then really dominated that 3rd quarter through big plays and physicality.
It was 14-10 UMass. Weiss hit a 25-yard field goal to make it 14-13. But then the intensity picked up, the hitting picked up, fumble by Young. Ford with a 19-yard touchdown run off of that fumble, and USF had a 20-14 lead at halftime, and they just kept it going in the 3rd quarter. Cronkrite, a couple of 77-yard touchdown runs, a 30-yard touchdown run, and now another timeout called by UMass after the carry by Cronkrite.
30-second timeout.
So Cronkrite,
I do believe he's now crested 300.
That's going to be 302. So South Florida was aware of the number. So he got the pickup. He got to the 300-yard mark, and it looks like he's done for the day.
Here's what's crazy. Coming into this game today, Jordan Cronkrite on 46 carries, had 304 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, so he almost doubled his total yardage, had half of the carries he's had all year, and scores 3 touchdowns. That is something. And you see the single game rushing record against UMass. Adrian Peterson from Georgia Southern in 1999, I do believe, that came in an early December playoff game.
Ford out there on 3rd down, and he's going to come up short of the first down marker, so South Florida will have to punt. Clock running, 5:42 to go.
Yeah, unfortunately, UMass couldn't pocket a timeout. It would have been nice to be able to stop the clock there, but nevertheless, they're going to get it back with a chance to maybe put a touchdown on the board. And if you're USF right here, the one thing you cannot do is let the guy back to handle this punt, number 5, Andy Isabella, get loose and put the score on the board quick.
What a boot.
Holy cow.
By Schneider. That's going to roll and be touched up at the 10-yard line.
Crikey.
Well, USF hasn't had to punt too often today. Trent Schneider's 28 years old. It's his first year with this South Florida program. He worked in construction. You're going to hear a lot about this story. South Florida keeps winning. In his native Australia, he was carpenter, just in construction. Thanks to social media. Not everything's bad with social media. There are some good things. And somebody saw a Facebook post that, you know, he's a rugby player, Australian rules football player, someone kicking around, and like, hey, you got a pretty strong leg. And one thing led to another. Somebody thought, well, maybe you've got a football leg in you. And sure enough, he went out to junior college in 2016. And Charlie Strong brought him to USF. Booted a 72-yarder last week, waiting for the final call on that punt. That's going to be in that area code. Fumble, free football, and I think USF's got it. They do.
Well, you get a mismatch in the backfield. You got a running back matched up against, I couldn't tell if it was a linebacker or a defensive lineman. Yeah, it was a defensive lineman that flashed through. And Jordan Fredericks at 5'10", 225 is not going to stop Josh Black at 6'2", 252 pounds. And you see the push, the strip, and there you go.
5th sack for USF today.
That's called getting a big on a little. And it worked out well for USF. That was a whale of a punt by Trent Schneider. He uncorked that thing.
59 yards officially. Give up the middle, and spinning through for the touchdown is Ford. Brett Keane was in at quarterback. He handed off to Johnny Ford. And we're an extra point away from UMass giving up 58 points in back-to-back games.
Well, both running backs, Cronkite and Ford, have done a really nice job today. They got him wrapped up. He spins away from the tackle. Ed Pinkham's not going to be happy about that. You need your defense to try to set the tone after you have a quick change turnover, and nothing doing this time for the Minutemen as Ford is able to spin away and get in the end zone for the touchdown.
Weiss makes it 58.
It's good.
UMass fell at Ohio last week 58-42, down 58-35 with 4:55 to go in the 4th quarter. So the Bulls are going to improve to 5-0 on the season. Been a remarkable run for this program over these last couple of years. Coming off back-to-back 10-win seasons and perhaps entering the top 25 with a win here today. They were just outside in both polls coming in. So as we get ready for the kickoff, we have time to tell you that next Saturday, a college football doubleheader here on 11 Sports. Central Arkansas taking on Stephen F. Austin at 3 o'clock. Then out to Big Sky Country, Weber State, Eastern Washington, 6 o'clock Eastern. It's all right here on 11 Sports.
You know who went to Central Arkansas? That'd be one Charlie Strong.
Head coach of the USF Bulls.
Yeah, look at that.
His team with another good play on special teams.
I do believe Central Arkansas has a very unique turf, a lot like the blue turf at Boise. I do believe it's kind of like a purple and gray down there at Central Arkansas. I'm fascinated with those fields like that.
You are. There's a lot of things that interest you.
Well, I'll tell you what, like the game we played at Boise, they told us when we were stretching, you know, that birds think that that's a body of water and watch out. Sure enough, I'm stretching it. Quack! There you go. And it's like they come and scoop it up and say, well, this happens all the time.
1st and 10 for Ross Comas and the Minutemen. Fredericks driven out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Well, UMass wrapping up this long stretch without a break. They'll get a break coming up this coming week. Their losses at Boston College, BC 4-1 entering play today. They're taking out NC State. They lost at Georgia Southern, a 3-1 team entering today. Georgia Southern's only loss was to Clemson, one of the best teams in the country. Lost at FIU, team with a winning record. Lost at Ohio, team that beat UMass for the 2nd year in a row, 2-2 right now on the season. It's been a challenge for UMass, certainly been a challenge for Ed Pinkham's defense as they've taken on these teams, including USF here today, and just impossible, it seems at times, just to stop these opponents. I mean, 58 points 2 weeks in a row.
Defense number 55, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
You know, when you get special teams mistakes and you get guys dropping the football and, you know, it really felt like in that 3rd quarter, it was what, about a 5 or 6 minute stretch, Eric, where it just snowballed on UMass and you blinked and the next thing you know, it was 40-14 or whatever it was.
And even though with the 2-4 record, the turnover margin for UMass isn't as bad as you think it would be. It's -2 coming in here today. However, they have fumbled the ball 4 times today and they've had 1 pass intercepted. So 5 giveaways, and USF has turned those into points.
Yeah,
today.
And that's not going to get it done when you're playing the better competition. You know, when you're playing a Charlotte or a Liberty or someone like that, you might be able to get away with it as they're sort of, you know, making their transition and trying to build their program the way UMass has here under Mark Whipple. But, you know, you got to find a way to stop some people.
Incomplete intended for Fredericks.
And it's the big plays, too. You know, victimized by the big plays, even if they don't go for touchdowns. If you're giving up field flipping plays, you're really putting yourself behind the 8 ball. And, you know, I don't know what really they can do. Do they try to alter the scheme a little bit? Do they try to be more aggressive, less aggressive? I know it's by opponent, but on some, you know, they've got to be able to count on their defense at some point.
Third down and 10. Inside of 4 minutes to play. Comas underneath. And that's going to be enough for a 1st down to Zach Simon. Simon with his 3rd reception of the afternoon.
And Simon did a good job. He's just running a crossing route over the middle, and he slowed down as Comas started to move in the pocket to give him a place to throw the football, and then did a good job of redirecting, getting to the 1st down.
Flags fly as Comas throws it to Fredericks. I think we're going to have procedure and holding as more flags came in and another UMass player is down.
Yeah, I don't know what the first flag is, but I know the second one is a hold on Ray Thomas Ishman.
I think it's
offside defense,
who's down.
57. Holding, offense, number 57. Penalties offset, 1st down.
So 1 against USF, and then the hold. And Coleman is still down at the 45.
I talked last week about those knee braces. That's a lifesaver for offensive linemen. I know O-linemen don't like them, and from a technological standpoint, they've come a long way since I was wearing them in the 90s, but that saved, you probably can't even add up how many knee injuries those braces have saved over the years.
Remains first and 10 to the 49 after the offsetting penalty.
Larnell Coleman, the young guy on this offensive line. He's the only guy who hasn't had double-digit starts over the course of his career because he's only a redshirt freshman.
Comas has a man wide open and just overthrows Emelis.
Boy, he needed that one. Comas has got plenty of time in the pocket. Wide open receiver running down the sideline. Looked like Roberts and the safety had a little miscommunication there as to what the coverage was going to be and who had that help responsibility. Missed opportunity there for the Minutemen.
2nd and 10. Fredericks for 3, inside of 3 to play. Comas on 3rd down. Fredericks hit about a yard short of the 1st down marker.
Well, that's going to be a good teaching moment when they look at the film there for Jordan Fredericks. He had an opportunity to get the 1st down and instead made a move and put his team in 4th and 2.
Leans forward to pick up the 1st down at the 40-yard line. They'll stop the clock. They'll move the chains. Clock running again as we approach 2 minutes to go. Comas has a little room and picks up 15 for a 1st down.
Comas is shifty, there's no question. He has the ability to make people miss. And this offensive line, Jake Largay, 79, is out. And it looks like they've moved some bodies around. I think it's Michael Sullivan in a right tackle. No, it's Largay right tackle. Here it goes.
Comas throws it up, and it's incomplete.
Hard to tell the numbers on these.
Largay was playing some at right guard, then Coleman left at right tackle with the injury, so they're just trying to mix and match right now.
Moving people all around at this point, and that's why you try to cross-train a lot of these offensive linemen to make sure when you need them. You know, you think it's easy to go from guard to tackle, but in all honesty, it isn't, especially if you're the left tackle, because you know you're going to get left on an island. And it looks like they've got Jalen Larry, 76, in there as well.
You see Mike Girardi, who's been a rotational player for that offensive line a couple years now for UMass. Comas in trouble. How did he hold on to that football?
Wow.
I don't know if he had possession the whole time, and now he's slow to get up. Remember, Comas has battled injuries throughout his career. He maybe lost his wind. You can see just a quick little thumbs up.
Well, let's take a look at it. Here's Comas running around, and he gets hit from the backside, finds a way to avoid 3 South Florida players, and then just kind of falls awkwardly.
I think he had the wind knocked out of him, if I had to guess. He'll head out for a play, at least. Michael Curtis up and throwing. So it looks like Curtis will come into the game. He'll be facing a 3rd down and 10 with 1:20 to go.
And Curtis did a nice job in the game. He had to start against Charlotte here in Amherst and had himself a very productive day. He can make plays with his legs. He's a little bit Andrew Ford and a little bit Ross Comas. He can run, he's got good athleticism, but you see the completion percentage a little better than Comas is at 62.2%.
Curtis gets back to the line of scrimmage. UMass out of timeout, so the clock continues to run, and a 4th down and 10 play coming up. Well, UMass was in the fight in the first half, no question about it. Had that 14-10 lead for a period of time. It's 20-14 USF at halftime, but then 31 unanswered points from the Bulls in total after that 14-10 UMass lead. Adjustment made and a catch made by Samuel Emelis.
That wasn't a back shoulder fade. That's like a back shoulder lob right there. And Emelis had the ball just fall right into his lap, and UMass has got a chance to at least throw one more score on the board.
Flags fly on the play.
Penalty marker down.
See what the call is here. I think this might go against USF. A lot of discussion.
Well, there is a little something for UMass to play for. They could become...
In offense, 5 players in the backfield, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
They become the team if they can score a touchdown here to score the most points against USF this year. Elon scored 14, Illinois scored 19, ECU scored 13. The season high is Georgia Tech's 38 against USF.
Well, and preparing for Georgia Tech is like preparing for Navy. It's almost impossible to get ready for them in a week with running that old Russell offense that he was running against Mark Whipple's first tour of duty here at UMass in the 90s.
Curtis throws it under. Ali is into the end zone for a touchdown, and UMass goes for 40 against USF.
Just flipping it to him in the flat. Curtis throwing it to Ali and letting him do the rest. Just a little swing route. And you could see the man in coverage gets caught up on the inside there. That's Jamon Thomas, the free safety, who they were able to take advantage of that time and put another one on the board.
So 58-41 with 15 seconds to go, and Garcia on to attempt the extra point. And a flag comes in.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, replay the try.
I believe, Andy, that is 18 combined penalties between the two teams.
Amount that is not going to make any coach happy.
USF 11 penalties for 100 yards. UMass 8 penalties for 80 yards.
Well, talking to Charlie Strong this week, he said, hey, the proverbial business trip, we're going to a place we haven't been before. We're going against a team that we know can score, as the PAT is good. But the third quarter is really where this whole game changed, and USF was able to take control of this football game through not only running it, but physicality. And for UMass, they need this week off. And then there's still winnable games on the schedule. And Frito, I know when we started the year here in late August in week 0 against Duquesne, the talk was find a way to be bowl eligible. And I know at 2-5, people look at it and say, well, can that really happen? Look, these next 3, I still think are very winnable. I don't think Coastal is much better, if at all better, than UMass, and they've got to come up here. And UConn defensively, they were playing a bunch of freshmen. They sat those guys down, but if they were playing the freshmen before they sat him down, how good were the veterans? So there's going to be some opportunities to score some points at Rentschler Field. And then you're getting a Liberty team that, in theory, is behind UMass in terms of their growth curve as a program, considering the decision they just made to go to FBS. I mean, we may be sitting here with this BYU game and looking at a 5-win football team. It's not out of the question.
Onside kick for UMass, grabbed by USF, and that will be that. For the second week in a row, UMass will fall by a score of 58-42.
That's amazing. Unless something crazy happens in 15 seconds, which, considering the way this game has gone today, anything is possible. But look, it was a very tumultuous week here in Amherst. Things were very different. We know the decision that was made relative to Mark Whipple, and a growing experience for everyone here affiliated with this UMass football program. If they can find a way to get some stops, they can still win some games here in the second half.
58-42 the final here at Amherst as UMass falls to 2-5 on the season. USF is now 5-0. USF 5-0, UMass 2-5. 58-42 the final. Jordan Cronkite putting up a school record 302 yards on the ground. Now a bye week, and as Andy mentioned, UMass has to be looking forward to just taking a little time to heal up. We saw some hard hits here today. Player carried off on a stretcher. Another player, Marquise Young, helped off the field. We did not see him return.
Get healthy. Try to get right on defense the best you can. And get ready to play in a bunch of shootouts if be the case. Because we know the one thing UMass can do is put points on the board.
So the Minutemen lose here at home 58-42 the final bye week, and then Coastal Carolina 2 weeks from today here at McGuirk for USF. They will be at Tulsa on Friday night as they begin this stretch of 8 games in the next 8 weeks. Starts here today. They make it to the American title game. There'll be 9 games in 9 weeks. There's no question who the star of the show was today for USF, Jordan Cronkite, and he's standing by with Matt.
Thanks, Jordan. First, congratulations. How does it feel, 302 yards? You broke not only the USF school record, but the American Conference record for rushing yards in a game.
It was a great feeling. All the credit goes to my offensive line. They did a great job getting the push all night long, and all the credit goes to them. Like I always say, I have the easy job by just running, so credit to them.
What were you able to see today to have such a productive day?
Just listening to what we were doing in practice all week and then applying it to the game, and we got the job done.
To start the game, it was a close game, and then second half, that's really kind of been the theme this year for USF is the second half. What's the difference between the first half and the second half?
I mean, I don't really know the answer to that. I just know we have to do better for the following week against Tulsa. I just know we got to improve for the first half, and I'm just happy we got the W.
All right, thanks a lot, and congratulations, Jordan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. 302 yards for Cronkite. 3 touchdowns, 23 carries, a couple of 77-yard runs for the transfer from Florida. And it's a win for South Florida here in Amherst. These two teams will meet again in 4 years down in Tampa. 58-42 our final. This telecast by 11 Sports was granted by the University of Massachusetts, and a use and rebroadcast requires the express written consent of UMass and 11 Sports. For Andy Gresh, Matt Goldstein, and our entire 11 Sports team, I'm Eric Freed. So long from